Morning, folks. How are we doing? Back here again with Lolcow Live. This is the Wings Confronted by Serious Allegations episode. I believe it's Joon the King on. Now, I guess I should say what I think of Joon the King. Joon the King, I think, is good. Solid documentarian. Produces good quality content. Yeah, like him. No real issues. I've never really watched any of his documentaries and thought, like, oh, this is badly done or this is badly researched. I don't remember his new Boogie one too much, which, I don't know. Maybe I should watch. People kept telling me to watch it on live stream because I was featured in it, but I remember watching it, like, ages ago when it first came out, and I think it was, like, a line. Like, I said one thing, and it's because it was the time when everyone was talking about the begging video, and I think it was just me saying the begging video or something like that. And I was just like, oh, okay, I guess that's me in it. People said I should watch it because I think people like me watching, like, Boogie things because I know quite a lot on Boogie, so I can give a little bit of extra context. People had asked me to do that for Mr. Snowflake's most recent Boogie documentary series, which I've never actually watched, just in case I ever did want to do a reaction to it, which is like 4 parts. Watched the first like 5 minutes of it, and it was like, I don't think Mr. Snowflake talks at all during it, and I think people want me to watch it to give a bit of additional context that is not included in just the audio clips provided by Boogie. So I might do that at some point. Who knows? You know, I'm always up for new ideas. But I think let's just get straight into this, guys.
Dude, what's up?
All right, listen. You know how I told you I have big news?
Yeah?
And that you have to film it. All right.
This is so cringe. Just already. This is so cringe. Oh, there you go. Boogie with his Boku bucks fucking hanging out there, his Monopoly money. Just how cringe it was. Just like how staged this is. But admittedly, the whole Lolcow podcast so far has been really staged. So
is the big news.
I already know what this is.
Lolcow Live has been doing so good that we got our first sponsor for the entire month of December. Each one of you are going to make a commercial promoting this brand, and you're up this week. All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to text you what the brand is. Make the best commercial you can because I'm going to have the fans vote who has the absolute best commercial.
There's a real like part of me that just does not want to include this because I've seen it before and I know people are going to be disgusted by it. But I guess we might as well include it anyway. I saw this when it first came out. People rushed to show it to me. Clearly, all I know from this is that since this happened, Wings has had to come out and confirm that Meta PCs, who is the ad that's going to be shown here in a second, has apparently pulled back because of Wings' trolls. Which the only thing I really proves is that Wings actually has trolls. Boogie doesn't have to. Boogie's always the one who's claimed, "Oh, my trolls have made me lose every sponsorship," but not Meta PCs. Meta PCs stuck by me, but like. Give it a week, and Wings' trolls are able to get Meta PC to run off. It really shows the difference in actual troll levels.
Either you, Wings, or Tommy C.
Oh, I'm gonna nail this. You know I'm gonna nail this, right?
I hope so.
Oh, I'm so excited.
All right. Best of luck, Boogie.
Awesome, dude. Thank you, man.
So cringe.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another
We're not gonna see
episode
it?
of Lolcow
Oh.
Live with none other than Boogie
I
298.
thought we were just gonna go in and see it. We'll see it a wee bit later on or something like that. But okay, cool. Yeah, fantastic. Joon the King. I always thought Joon the King was one of those faceless guys, but he only ever really appears to do his sponsorship reads.
88 Wings of Redemption and a very special guest who just did a documentary on Wings of Redemption, Mr. Joon the King.
I prefer to be called Super Fatty Pimp Daddy. I like that
Well,
better too.
yeah. Can I introduce the guy already? I mean, jeez. You'll get your chance, Wings. June, welcome to the program. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
All I really noticed is that Joon has like a TV stand back there, and he has like a bunch of DVDs and shit, but he has no TV. that's what weirdly that all I'm focusing on right now.
thanks for having me on.
Let's cut right to commercial. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Oh, gee, what was the point of this?
Ho, ho, ho. Now, what do you want for Christmas, little girl?
I want a computer for Meta PCs.
Ho, ho, ho.
I want a father figure. Oh God, fantastic! We're just going so hard at this. This is what you guys are supporting with the Lolcow Live.
Well, they've got such great deals, Santa could get that for you in a snap. Oh, it's a little Christmas miracle.
She's unironically just as like sexually involved with this fucking PC as she's ever been in any of the pictures I've seen her with Boogie. really, you know what? I believe the chemistry here, because admittedly the PC is actually more in her age range than Boogie is.
Now come here, little girl.
Oh, there we go.
Santa's going to want some milk and cookies. You know that, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Why is she such a creature? She's such an animal. Yes, I do. Oh my god, she's just such an actress. That's fantastic. No wonder I don't believe their relationship whatsoever if she's this bad an actress. Oh, there we
And
go.
with Meta PC's deep discounts, you too could get a PC for Christmas.
You're saying deep discounts and you have not made a sex joke out of that, Boogie? I'm actually kind of disappointed.
If you're looking for a pre-built PC or laptop, they could ship you one in time for Christmas. But if you're
We all know I got a PC recently, and I'm not gonna lie, there was a tiny temptation to get it using Boogie's code just for a laugh.
really looking to spend, you could build that custom PC with all of the bells and whistles, just like Santa's got back at the North Pole. And if you use code...
It's not even like as creepy as I remember it being. Like maybe I just only watched the first little bit of it because I don't remember this whole fucking spiel. I was expecting there to be more like puns and innuendos and shit like that. And there's just okay.
Lolcow, you're going to save some money, and we'll make some money. Make sure all those naughty boys
Was she gonna say something there and just kind of forgot?
girls at the podcast get paid. Now give me some sugar, baby.
There you go. This is yep. Imagine he's just laughing into her mouth. He's just laughing into her mouth. Oh.
Oh, well, that's right.
There you
Go to MetaPCs.com now and use code Lolcow to save 4% off of your brand new gaming PC.
Only 4%? Isn't Boogie's at 5%? Fuck, they got undercut.
See.
There you go, guys. Beautiful. Fills me with the Christmas spirit. Incredible.
All right, back with the Lolcow podcast. Joon the King.
Is no one going to comment on that? I was expecting Tommy to comment on that.
Are you honored to be here with Mr. Wings Redemption? And because it seems like this is the first day that your
He's made documentaries on Boogie too.
documentary came out on Wings. Quite good for us. It seems to be doing quite well.
I don't actually think it's transferred across to views, which is really weird because I don't know what he's up to, what Joon the King is up to right now, and his view count. One second, we'll check. Okay, the documentary is actually up to 325,000 views. It hasn't really had that big an increase, actually, which is kind of stunning. But I actually went out and watched it. I watched it and I watched the original one again just to try and, because I never watched this one when it first came out, but to refresh myself on Wings, because I am not as big into Wings as people would be. I think his trolling community, unfortunately, kind of sours the interest in Wings a lot because they're just so unfun. And that's actually what a lot of this really covers is the troll community and how they kind of fell apart, which makes sense as to why it might have a smaller view count because his trolling community kind of has shrunken a lot recently. So I want to watch that. We've only got like 80,000 views on this episode though, so it hasn't really helped too much.
I thought it was very fair, but
I think it was fair. Yeah.
What's wrong with the Wings? I mean, have you given it a watch yet?
I've skimmed them. Like, my issue is
why
like,
do they
he
always say
puts
this?
A background narrative.
Why do they always say this? Why does Boogie, Wings, all of them? They always I skimmed it as a bro. You watch every second of it.
On them that is almost like trolly in tone because most of his sources are from troll channels. To be honest, because I'm a very closed person.
What could possibly be trolly about it?
But most of his sources aren't from troll channels. His sources are from you, which then gets regurgitated on the troll channels. Like Wings, almost everything comes out is like from Wings' live streams. I didn't really see anything that was like purely troll information.
I don't know. You gotta give me bullet points because I've only skimmed it. Like I don't.
Oh my god!
don't
Don't lie.
I really think this
Stop
particular
lying.
one you would like watching, if I'm being honest with you.
That's because he did
very
watch it.
sympathetic towards you. It is more than anything a moratorium on your trolls and how they are basically
those dudes.
Yeah,
dude. My trolls are the fucking kings of fucking dirt bagging.
Well, I mean,
I don't want to say what they call it.
Yeah, but we're getting away. I think I don't think you're giving Joon a fair shot here.
Yeah.
I think it's very sympathetic.
Wouldn't you have even for this? Remember they're acting like this is a job. This is to raise them above being lolcows, and they are aware that Joon the King is coming on. Wouldn't you sit down and watch it? Wouldn't you sit down and watch the documentary? Wouldn't that be like a plan from Wings? This is what I say. Wings always looked good in the other podcasts, apart from anytime trolls were brought up, and then he had that little twitch that started happening there, and he started getting angry, started thinking of making teeth soup. But here, it's like this is already showing him bad light that he can't even prepare by watching the documentary. These two should have just sat down and done a director's commentary of it. That would have been great.
I'm gonna ask Joon a question.
Yeah, well, what is it?
What is Joon's opinion of my troll community?
Man, Jordy, I think you have some
honest.
very intense trolls. I think you have some really crazy people there. I mean, like your lighter trolls are pretty funny. I mean, the ones who just say big ups pimp in the chat, those guys are just funny. But the guys who swat you and extort you, I don't know. I think that's really fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, the SWAT guy's going to jail.
Yeah.
Is he?
Like the guy who, yeah, that was Wing Ting's version 3.
Has he gone to jail? I mean,
Oh, I know
I've heard.
Wing-Tings.
How many fucking versions are there? Because I thought it was a version 8 right now. Is it version 8 right now? Was he the one who tried to stop the boxing match from happening?
I heard that he possibly went to jail. I didn't see any reports.
No,
so.
he's in jail.
Oh.
He's in jail.
Okay.
What jail
I'm
is he
letting you
in?
know he's in jail.
What jail is he
I
in?
don't know. I don't know that, but
Well, you don't,
Wings,
so you
stop
don't know.
it.
You don't know he's in jail. Be real.
You don't know.
I mean, I have an FBI agent. He's
Oh, yeah.
No! No! Oh god, what is with morally obese fucking lolcows and having FBI agents who work with them? We got fucking Boogie's FBI agent who told him to make up getting swatted to own Sam and Tulky. We've got Amber Lynn's FBI agent, FBI Frank, who came to her house to tell her that he really likes her content, and he's keeping an eye on those trolls for her. And now Wings has an FBI agent friend who's telling him about who's in prison and all of his troll community, but he doesn't know where. There's no reports or anything like that. Fuck's sake, Wings. 5 minutes in.
jail.
They're trustworthy.
Okay.
He says he's in jail and just says that that's it. He's not aware of
Yeah.
trial or anything.
Yeah,
that,
no trial.
Joon the King is a great researcher. We certainly could find out more details, right, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can look up if Wing Tings is in jail. Yeah, could be a possibility.
Wait, June, I sent you a DM that Jordy said about you in our chat. You want to read it for us?
Oh, let's
Yeah,
go.
let me see.
Yeah, I sent it right here in Discord, but I sent you.
Oh, Lord.
It's actually from Jory.
Oh,
Jordy.
Wings,
Could
you said
switch-
this. Was this you, Wings? Okay.
Could you read that for us, June?
What? I don't even know what this is.
I watched
Go ahead,
bits
read
and
it.
pieces of that Joon the King. Sounds like he is a 120-pound manlet. Dude, like that never showed her face.
He showed his face all the time in the sponsor part of his videos. He always says it. He does sound like a 120-pound man. I would take that away from him. But Wings is also that guy who thinks like I'm like the strongest, fittest 400-pound man who exists. After the boxing match, he claimed he could beat any other 400-pound man in a fight. And I think Wings also lied about his height. I think he claimed he was like well over 6 foot at some point.
Wings, in that video, I showed my face.
Yeah.
Like, it was in the
I
beginning.
said I skimmed it.
Oh, come on, man.
skimmed
It
it.
was in the first,
Cringe.
like, 2 minutes, though. Wings. Yeah.
How much
And
do
to
you
be
weigh?
fair, I still don't know what he looks like because we can't see each other.
That's fine. I would like to be, I guess, lighter, but I'm not 120 pounds.
I'll be honest. I haven't taken watched a lot of your videos, the ones about me, but a lot of the other ones as well. I was surprised to see your appearance.
I was a really big fan. I'm a really big fan of you. I'm a big fan of all your content. I think your content is so good, June. June was one of the people that Boogie listed as he wanted to do the documentary to prove that people like Joon the King could never make content as good as this.
In this one, I actually, I don't know. I had like a mythical version of you in my head, and
Yeah.
you don't look like that. You look like just
What was your
a
version?
human
So,
being.
so what's the deal with these new YouTubers?
No, just say what's your version. I just want to know what his version is because Boogie probably just thinks all of his fucking trolls look like him.
always want to hide behind shit or make cartoon avatars and mess like that. Like, what's the deal?
Well-
like, why did you feel like you wanted an avatar instead of your actual face?
You mean my...
What would you prefer to be, Wings? Would you prefer to be like a fucking potato guy down here, sitting here with a little dog hoodie on, or would you rather be you, who like is like your picture is showing every time there's a national tragedy, and they've had to do newspaper reports about how you aren't actually Bernie Gores, who is like dying in Uvalde and also Ukraine.
profile picture? Is it like...
Yes.
Well, the thing is, Wings, with my videos, I try not to make myself the center of the videos. So
Exactly,
if I
yep.
intersplice myself talking, it really interrupts the flow because the focus is you. The focus is Boogie.
Yep.
The focus is not me, right? I'm not
Yep.
the center of the story.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you don't think that removes like your ability to create community?
No,
don't want a
I don't think
community.
it does too much. I think people will certainly...
Oh, and a lot of people don't want community. Where's Wings coming from that he says, oh, do you think it takes away from your ability to create community? Who, out of the two, which would you rather have? No community or Wings' community? Like, yeah, me and June are totally on the same page here. I've said this numerous times. Like, I am not the focus. I'm not the personality of my videos. It's what I talk about, my knowledge, what I've looked into, that kind of shit. That's what people should be focusing on, not just like, oh, I wonder if the Irish guy has a beard or not, you know?
attach to me if I show my face more, but I think that like more so detracts from the content. So I try to avoid
Wait,
And you got
I gotta interrupt you. Do you think he's one of these YouTubers that use like an avatar as a video? Because he doesn't.
He doesn't.
I
yeah.
don't use an avatar.
Well, I was about to explain that. I was just like, you got to see where I'm coming
Okay.
from. Tommy, quit interrupting. You got.
Oh, he's annoyed.
From my experience, I deal with a lot of shady people, especially in the last 5 or 6 years of my life, and like the vast majority of them have like anime avatars or
So?
waifus, or even the weird ones have like wolves or cartoon wolves and shit. And these are
furries.
the people that want to cuss me out and shit like that. So like every time I see somebody making a critique about me, it's always an avatar.
So?
It's never a face.
So
And,
every
like,
time,
June-
well, June's not one of them. And so you don't watch June's video.
Yeah, but well, to be fair, June doesn't show his face to the majority of it. Like you said, he just shows in the sponsor. But like, what's the point? What's the difference? It's like, oh, I can't see his face. It's like, so what does that take away from the criticism of you? what they look like. It's something like I talk about in my Girl World Island thing a lot, because there is a woman called Chantel, Foodie Beauty, fucking massive, morbidly obese woman, terrible person, and she always like tries to come from her trolls to say, you guys can't criticize me, I bet you're all as ugly and as fat as me, and also claims that she's like the top 10% best looking woman in the world because she's just narcissistic and crazy like that. But it's just like, no, not really. To be able to criticize someone like Boogie, if you're just going for appearance-wise, we're just going appearance-wise. If you're talking about like criticizing Boogie or Wings or something like that for appearance, like you don't have to be like an 8 out of 10. You don't even have to be a 6 out of 10. Like June's like a solid little like 6 out of 10 guy, and he's just like, yeah, he's dunking on them. He looks like a supermodel here compared to these three.
You assume that he's one of these Avatar like English kids. I find them annoying too.
Yeah, but like you got to look at my place. Like June's video isn't the only documentary floating around about me. There's the Rabbit Hole. There's Joon the King.
Why would Knutson showed his face too?
You throw him in with all those other guys.
Because it's face value. Like I don't watch any of them.
I know, but Wings, you just say you don't watch any of them, you skim them, yet you have so many critiques. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem very fair, my dude.
What critique did I put out there?
What critique?
Yeah, what did I critique on your video? Like all I said is like why the Avatar.
Yeah, that. Well,
like,
that's
not
just
a critique
an
of the video
example,
itself.
initially. I remember like I believe my second video, you talked about how you skinned Frederick Knutson's video, right? And you were saying how he has false information, how he doesn't get it accurate, and you were just saying like mine was more for the trolls too. Like mine was more trolly in the sense, and it has more narrative.
Yeah, like see, you named your video a desperation of content. Like I choose not to create content because I don't have faith in myself anymore.
Wings, the thing is that's kind of like
is that about the trolls as well?
The title is not more so like it's not really for you. Like it's more for the trolls. I mean, you are like I feel like more desperate than you've ever been.
Yeah, like he does include a clip of it of Wings sniffing his own chair for a $10 donation. Like, if that's not desperate, I don't really know what you would consider desperate. And yeah, it is about trolls. Like, I do believe Wings probably did watch this more than he claims. Like, I lightly skimmed it. I do believe he probably watched it more than that. But like, even a cursory glance would show you that a lot of it is about the trolls. And how, like, the trolls were going to war with each other, how desperate they were for content, how they were fighting each other over trying to, like, ruin his life or trying to monetize him, you know?
It's more for the trolls because I feel the trolls...
Why do you feel that way?
Because you're sniffing your chair for $10.
See?
Well, that's because it's a dumbass thing. If they want to give me real tangible money to sniff a leather chair which doesn't have smell, I will do it.
That's a bit desperate. That's all.
Well, Jordy, okay, I have a question. Coming off of the fight, would you be sniffing your chair when you were, like,
This was after the fight. This is a week after the fight that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just... To be honest,
because I look at it this way. Like the money's something that will benefit my life. I can use it for charity work. So I do charity work.
Oh no!
I can use it for.
No, don't stop it. I always find that shit incredibly cringe when these people who are like, because Boogie's like doing that recently as well. Boogie, of course, is talking about how much charity work he's done over the length of his career, how he's such a good person, because obviously the financial audit came out and he wasn't overly happy about that, and people have been shitting on him. And it's like, bro, you aren't doing charity work. If you're like talking about how you've earned so little money and you're 40% down in income, you aren't still out doing charity work. Come on.
Or like doctor bills, I can put it away in savings, so I never have to choose between food or medicine. Like me sniffing the chair has no like long-term risk with it. It's not like I'm gonna catch COVID-19 for sniffing a chair. I sit my fat.
You might be able to.
But do you know how that's going to present? Like I've learned a very valuable lesson over.
Don't Boogie, no.
For example, about how even if it's a bit, even if it's a joke, how it's going to present specifically.
Are we gonna reference back to the bit where Boogie was pretending to crawl on his hands and knees and beg Keemstar? Like, are we gonna reference that? Because this is why I say like. The Lolcows doing like therapy sessions together where they're giving each other advice that they never would ever follow themselves is always the cringest shit.
When you have the troll community that likes to pick apart everything you do,
right?
You have to know how sniffing that chair is going to come across, right?
Yeah, it looks desperate, but guess what? Like, it gets people to talk about you, right? Like, I know I guess that does sound desperate.
So the title is appropriate, Wings.
Yeah.
So you conceded its title is appropriate.
Yeah, you just did.
No, I don't think it's appropriate, especially with this act particularly.
You just... I love it even he goes, well, I guess you would say it's desperate. So it's like, oh, so you're saying it's right? No, still wrong. Even though I admitted that is desperate, it's still wrong.
But, like, I don't care because, like, keeping your name out there is good for you, no matter where you're at in your career. Right?
Is it?
Getting new people to hear about you and interact with your content is the goal. And if
is it though? If you're goal breeds your troll community that he grew. Like, surely as someone who, like, experiences, like, because, like, Boogie can argue the point, like, oh, well, whatever I do, I get a little bit of attention, it might be good for me, because he doesn't really have a big troll community. Boogie's able to, like, coast off his legacy a lot better than Wings would. So for Boogie, that might be an argument. Boogie's always tries to claim this. Anytime he gets in trouble, he claims, oh, I was doing that on purpose just so people would talk about me. That's just a very Boogie thing to do. Wings, it doesn't really work as well, because Wings is the type of guy who is complaining about being, like, swatted, and I mean actually swatted, not Boogie swatted, like, actually swatted. He's the one who's, like, talking about people, like, hacking his accounts, extorting him. You know, that's all the kind of shit that he's attracted by doing things to get people to talk about him. Like, at that point, you shouldn't be like, you know what? Nah, I probably shouldn't do that anymore.
Sniffing a chair does that, and that pushes the thing forward. That's fine. It's whatever. It's not like I'm out here eating, like, poop or something.
So you do have a limit. There is a limit then.
Yeah, 100% limit. I just, like, I'm not. There's dudes with OnlyFans that do way worse than me. Like, look at Nikocado Avocado. He's like
Boogie?
on OnlyFans.
Boogie
Like,
has an
bouncing on
OnlyFans?
a dog. You never see your boy Jay doing that.
Yeah, but to be fair, like, oh, Nikakoto's gay. Like, I think he's probably bouncing on the dildo because he likes bouncing on the dildo. I don't think you sniff the chair because you like sniffing chairs.
And I'm glad for it, you know?
Yeah, me too.
Thank God for the small favors.
Unless you were doing something like along those lines, then it would have been okay to title it Desperate, and do you think it would have been appropriate then?
Right. But I look at it this way. I look at sniffing a chair
sniffing.
same as like people. Sniffing a chair is the same as like people paying me money to do jumping jacks.
Right,
Which is
Wings,
also
they're
very
both-
desperate.
But the thing is,
The
like,
same.
I'm saying, like the title is not really for you. It was more so for the trolls, right? Because people will click or like or comment on the video being like, "Wow, Wings is really desperate," but they'll see I'm talking about more about the desperation on the trolls because that was a larger focus.
Yes, it
on the
was.
video, because it's titled "A Drought of Content," right? So that's the trolls who have the drought.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to say this. Like,
It
for a long
complimented
period
you.
of but like, I want to say this. Like, for a long time, I made my content as boring as humanly possible to try and drown them out, and then I gave up on it.
But that's
Hey, it
stupid.
did work. It really did work. I feel like you did good work.
Well, I don't know. Like, remember, this is like Wings who said, like, June, I don't know why you don't constantly have your face on screen, because what about building a community? But then it's like, well, Wings, why don't you try and, like, build a community? Why did, like, if this is the kind of thing you're going for, instead of doing, like, humiliating stuff like sniffing your chair or getting paid to do jumping jacks or something like that, where people are going to make fun of you, and they're not going to, like, go, yay, look how cool he is, he sniffed his chair. They're going to make fun of you. Why don't you do stuff to actually build a community as opposed to, like, I don't know, just that. I really don't know how much to say about that.
Avoiding the trolls and their commentary for a while.
But how does that
But
affect?
now
your
I don't
bottom-
care about it.
How does that affect your bottom line, though, Jordy? Because June does a pretty good job of like saying that you choosing to do that and engaging with this.
There's nothing I like more than Boogie, who's trying to, like, do this therapy session with Wings thing right now. And he's, like, talking about how good June is, but Boogie thinks, like, June's documentary on him is probably, like, the worst thing ever and totally wrong and full of lies and factually inaccurate and everything. I wonder if they're ever going to get to that point with Boogie referring to his thing, because he's like, oh no, June's so fair. June did this really well. He really researched this really. But I guarantee, if you ask Boogie what do you think of June's thing, he'd be, oh yeah, he lied constantly, just all this fake stuff about me. Oh yeah, just like, crazy. He really spread a lot of misinformation about me. But whatever, I think that's absolutely fine.
These trolls less means that probably your bottom line is suffering. So is that true?
No, it's not. Like, the only thing that really affected my
He
bottom
said in
line
the
was when they
documentary
attacked,
was.
like, when they got me departnered on Twitch, which that was bullshit in the beginning.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know what June thought. I can tell you exactly what happened. I was playing Rainbow Six, and one of the trolls joined my game, and he, doing the same stuff. Hey, Wings, doing, like, antagonizing me in game. And I go, I hope your mother sucks. I said another word.
You did.
The COVID word.
You did.
But I didn't want to put them
COVID
all
word?
in that order. But, like, and that's what got me departnered, because I defended myself from being harassed in my.
That's cringe. You can just, I don't know, just not. You can just not. You can just, like, block the guy. There's no great reason to go, like, boogaloo on it. Yeah. I think that Wings are probably, like, banned unfairly. Probably, but, like, that's if we're just talking about that. Like, I'm not really sure. Like, you could be talking about, like, I don't know, like it's like DSP. DSP will never admit that he got banned from Twitch because of his old like anti-Semitic jokes and stuff like that. And yeah, they're probably jokes. Like, I don't really think he's actually anti-Semitic, but that's where it's coming from. It wasn't just from, like, one instance from what I know.
Private time.
Wait,
Like,
you
to me-
partnered? This is like video 2. We're talking about video 3.
Right. Well, like, I'm just talking about, like, this is stuff that actually affected my bottom line, because I got departnered from Twitch.
But we're here
because of
talking
that.
about his video, Jordy.
Yeah, well, he also had to like he has actually, like, been, like, financially hit by other things. Like, he had a private and then delete all of his videos. because people were doing like false copyright strikes against his videos and looking back at things to strike in his old videos. So that is like, he might not have made a lot of money from them, but that's like money he could potentially have been getting from all of his previous backlog of VODs. People might go back and watch through them. So that is money he may have potentially lost. So yeah, he is getting hit financially by other things. It's not just, oh well, I got hit by the Twitch partnership thing once, and that's it. That's the only thing.
We're talking about like we're talking about the last 6 months.
Yeah,
is what this video is about. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't affect. No, like ever since the fight, my revenue's been up. Like my revenue, my views.
You literally said the opposite.
Jordy, I have like I believe a clip that happened in the fight was in May, and then it was in June. That you said how you're recounting how like low your sub counts were, how little money you were getting. I do have the all my. I can actually post all of my sources for this video.
I said that.
Yeah, no.
There's so many.
You know what? I'm not going to bullshit you.
You just did.
That most like what you understand is I'm borderline bipolar.
That face, I just pulled that face as well. Holy. Okay. my finances have been great since the boxing. Really? Because you said they weren't. Well, I'm not going to bullshit you. Yeah, they were. They are. By the way, I'm bipolar. Bro, fuck off. That's. Yeah. Like I said, it's always when trolls are involved that Wings always looks the worst because he has to try and fight. And it's similar for Boogie. Like, if you sat down and, like, Boogie would sit down and just talk about, like, video games and not bring up his trolls or bring up his, like his financial struggles or anything like that, I'm sure if you sat down and just listened to Boogie talk about, like, video games or, like, Magic the Gathering, you'd probably come away going, like, he seems like a nice guy. Because, like, he's just talking about something normal. And he can, like, pretend to be, like, a normal person whilst talking about it. But then if you say one of your trolls likes playing Magic the Gathering, he would then, like, absolutely break down as a human being, and he would have, like, constant issues. He would change his opinion on Magic the Gathering probably overnight. But that's the same thing as just having Wings. Like, Wings could just be a normal person, like, yeah, you know, I was struggling with my finances, but because a troll brought it up, well, someone he sees as a troll, no, I'm doing fine. I'm not doing fine financially.
Like, some days I'm happy, some days I'm sad. And my mood can swing based on, like, the vibe or, like, certain things happening, or if I'm not meeting goals or something like that. And, like, instead of being, like, an adult about things, I'll be like, oh, woe is me, Eeyore, sometimes. And I try to avoid doing that.
This is just, like, woe is me, guilt trip shit. It just has nothing to do with, like, what he just said about finances. Sometimes I'm in a good mood, sometimes in a bad mood. Well, that doesn't affect you saying that you're 40% down on your finances, on like, your income on YouTube. Like, saying 40% is, like, that is, like, it's a number. It is just there. It's black and white. It's not if you're, well, if I'm happy, it's actually up 80%. If I'm sad, it's down 40%. It's not like that. It is like a factual thing. So you being bipolar, apparently, doesn't change that.
For the most part. But that's really what that was. It's just a slow day. I don't even know what game I was playing. I was probably playing some off game like fucking Diablo 2 or some shit like that. Like, you can't read too much into that.
I mean, I can. You gave exact numbers. It wasn't just your mood. You gave exact numbers. You didn't show it.
Well, I'm down 33% on views. I'm down 5% on watch time. 104% on subscribers. I've actually lost 81 subscribers in the month of June.
Yeah, okay, so he's not talking about just that on just that one stream with just that one game. I am down this. He is saying I am down 81 subscribers in the month of June. So obviously he's looking at his monthly statistics, which is in a separate area on your YouTube Studio app.
And my money is down 43%. So I can tell you exactly why that happened. It's because people were, brigging up the fight, like, oh, this fight's your second coming. I'm like, oh, my numbers aren't that much better than before the fight, which they weren't. Like, the Lolcow podcast has really shot my numbers up.
That's good. I'm happy for you, man. I really am.
I think you got this guy all wrong, man.
Yeah.
I don't think you gave him a chance, and I think you think he was just like some troll. Joon the King is a document. I mean, he makes documentaries.
I mean,
he's very refined.
I'll be genuine with you.
Oh God, here we go.
I think if you can set your ego aside long enough to watch this particular video, I think you're going to be very surprised at the content, because for the most part, I mean, it does outline a handful of silly things you've done, like sniffing the chair and things along that lines. But it actually paints a very sympathetic picture of you.
Yeah, but that should be included. Like, at the same time, like, I love he makes that sound like that's like an outlier. That it's like, well, it does include something like that. It's like, well, yeah, obviously it should, because that is important for the Wings of Redemption story. Is that he is at the point where he's like willing to take $10 to sniff a chair. Like Boogie putting on his like soft voice where he's like slowly, if you can set your ego aside. And it's like, bro, I still remember you referring to my videos and said, oh yeah, he's wrong about me a lot. He's very often very wrong about me. Even when I like my videos are like showing clips and showing thumbnails and generally just like recounting what he's done, not like really reading into like conspiracy theories or anything like that, as me just like showing what he has done.
As it should.
Like, if you want to say about my reaction videos where it's a kind of off the cuff thing, that's fine. But like, my monthly recaps when I did them was just showing his tweets and showing what he does during the month.
Because, I mean, everybody on the internet has trolls, but you have some of the most deranged, unhinged human beings I've ever imagined. And those people are so awful that even Joon has to take a giant dump on what a nightmare.
That even Joon, he makes like even Joon, like as if Joon is like subhuman himself. They're so bad, even someone like Joon would shit on. It's like, no, like, any normal person would. Like, any normal person would. Like, I don't really know anyone outside the Wings of Redemption specific troll community that likes Wings' trolls. Like, during the documentary, he pointed out that Null, the owner of Kiwi Farms, came out against them. I've come out against them numerous times. You hear the guys in PKA mock them all the time. Like, yeah, people mock them all the time because they're seen as fucking mental.
You've been struggling with.
Yeah.
And even goes as far as to compliment you and say what an excellent job you've done handling it, and even gives specific cases of how well you've done.
In some
man.
regards,
And
yeah.
like,
You said you didn't feed the trolls. That was another thing.
You know when I knew they were bad when Joshua Moon came to me and gave me his condolences. It's like, oh, but I don't know. Like, you get used to it a little bit. Like, you kind of get numb to it. It's like I remember when I first started getting trolled. Like, I'd get upset about the Liquid Richard stuff and like the making songs. But like now, I wish they would just make songs. Like, just make songs. I don't give a shit. Make songs. Make
I don't really listen to
like,
songs that much.
Breaking Banquet right now. Like, he takes my content and he adds words in with like AI. To make it sound like I say things that I didn't say.
Really?
To make the narrative even worse on me.
See, I haven't watched a troll, like a Wings reactor, in like a very long time. Because, like, I watched some in the run-up to the fight. Because the biggest problem is, like, Wings' content is generally, like, all, like, hidden immediately once he puts it up. He's kind of changed that recently. But you want to get information on Wings, like, you oftentimes have to go to the trolls. Which is, like, really unfortunate. Because, like, apart from their editing style just annoys the fuck out of me. Because their idea of, like, making something fair use and transformative is just to edit it in a really annoying way, or to like super zoom in just on his face, so it's like really pixelated and terrible looking. And I can't criticize, my videos look terrible too, so I'm not really going that hard on that element. But it's not really appealing to look at. The audio is annoying a lot of the times. If they're at the point where they're like doing like AI shit, it's like, oh god, really? Because I was annoyed at the times where they would just randomly stick in like his old lines just in the middle. It's like, bro, I want to know what happened during this live stream. If you're just, can you just sum up this live stream for me instead of like randomly including bits about the age of consent and shit like that from like 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like some trolls definitely do try to spread misinformation, which is just annoying for research.
Well,
Yes.
it's all about context. It's all about
exactly, Jane. Exactly. Thank you. For when you try to research people, it's like I remember it came out hard against this guy who used to post videos of Boogie, and they were like 5-second videos that were just like Boogie, totally clipped out of context. And I remember at one point during a live stream, I go, can you stop uploading so much? Because I hate searching Boogie and just seeing like all of your shit because it's just so annoying. Because it even makes like trolls look bad. It even makes like the Boogie detractors look bad when it's just that kind of shit just over and over and over again.
Contents. They want to paint it a certain way, and it's like and I know why they do it. They do it because that's how they make their money. Like,
yes.
as long as YouTube is willing to pay them, they're willing to make these videos. Because most of the troll channels don't actually hate me. I think the only one who really hates me is Wings 007.
Gulag Kingpin, I think, doesn't like you very much.
Yeah,
if I'm correct.
Well, he doesn't make content either. I mean, like, he used to.
Yeah, he
pretty
used
much
to.
doesn't now. Because that's a Wings of Redemption professional predator.
Joon, I have a note here that I don't know if this is backtracking a bit, but I have a note here that he also said that the guy from Real Talk is going to jail, or is it the same guy we were talking about before?
Well, he's been that a lot, yeah.
Oh.
No, neither one. That's Wings and the
Wings
other guy, the New
007.
York.
Yeah, but
guy. I don't think the New York
you
guy
said
said
in his video they had a tape and said, well, this guy's going to jail.
Yeah, he did.
I'd like to know who he
Numerous
sent to
times.
jail.
Numerous
The first
times.
guy, yeah. The guy didn't really say. Oh, yeah, no, he says he's going to go, he's going to send Wings 007 to jail. He said, I'm going to say it.
Yeah,
And he really, tried to convince everyone that he's going to send Wings 007 to jail, which never happened.
yeah.
Who, me?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It was either jail or suing him. It was a long time ago.
Who, me? Yes. You. yes, you, Wings. Wings is one of those guys who just like repeat, because like Chantel does exactly the same. Chantel Foodie Beauty does exactly the same, where she has been threatening to sue and like arrest all of her detractors and haters dozens of times for years. Like FFG, the main one, she has threatened to sue her. I have lost count. It is nearly like a weekly occurrence when she said, once I go back to Canada, she's getting arrested and she's getting put in jail for like making fun of her online, which is not like a crime.
I think you're just like...
No, it was out of jail. He's setting in jail.
I don't know the context I'm getting asked this question.
The context is that you said that you were going to put Wings 007 in jail. That's the context. You don't need any more than that. That is just the context.
All right, a caller asked you about the Real Talk podcast, and he said that the guys that are running that are going to. One of the guys is going to jail. I mean, you had me on tape saying it. And
No, are you sure it was me? I was probably
yeah, it was your brother. Well, of course, it was you.
No, it was me.
What the fuck?
I mean, I'll be entirely genuine with you, Jordy. When these people like break the law, I'm so glad to see them going to jail. Like the guy that extorted you. That's literally against. And I can't believe
extortion.
That was Gulag Kingpin.
Yeah, the conversation you
They
had
didn't go
with
to
that
jail.
person. Not only were they breaking the law, not only did they admit they were breaking the law, they thought they were a superhero for doing it. And the way you handled that conversation, I have never had.
I don't think they thought. I don't think they thought they were going to. They were a superhero for it. I think they were just like a really cringe fucker because I think they're like this is the point where they were claiming that they're like the new Elon Musk and they're just going to extort people online and make all their money doing that or some nonsense shit like that.
That much grace in my life. Most people I know don't have that much grace to handle that conversation.
Oh, you're talking about the one I recorded of him?
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah. That was actually very surprising. It's so surprising because the clips that I see on these troll channels or the things that I see in my timeline, that's not the Jordy I've gotten to know through this podcast. It's not the Jordy I got to know through the fight.
Boogie, literally no one gives a fuck about your opinion of Wings of Redemption. I'm going to be really honest. I remember Boogie like talking about like Kelly, that how she's such a lovely woman. He's gotten to know her and everything. And he met her once during the boxing. That was it. That is his entire time meeting was like once during the boxing. I was like, wait, Boogie, I personally don't care what your opinion is on someone when you're like on your knees sucking off Joon the King, when you frequently will shit on him on your own live streams. Like, so I don't care what your opinion is of people because, like, I don't know, like during the boxing, you said Wings was one of the worst people you ever met, and he was one of the only people you ever hated, and you're so willing to go into a ring and beat him up because you hate him so much. That kind of shit. So I just don't care. You change your opinion constantly.
You are just like a genuinely kind, gentle person, and you were handling that person with that kind of kindness. I was really surprised. I would have lost my temper.
Well, no, Boogie probably wouldn't have lost his temper. No, I wouldn't be surprised because Wings was recording it because he wanted to use it against the person. So that's why he could act like that, because he was recording it. I've heard him in the Lion's Den before. He's not that calm and collected. He was doing it because he was specifically recording the person trying to use this against them.
Temper. I think most people would have in that situation.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like people, like the big thing that they try to do right now is they try to paint me out to be this like pedophile, like narcissistic, like wife beating, animal killing person, and I'm none of these things, right? Like, but they'll point and they'll go, "You said this on PK."
Well, see, I have a minute. Like I said, I don't know Wings nearly as well, but the animal thing is because he claimed he put like a kitten under a bucket and put a brick on top of the bucket when he was young, and he came back a long time later and was like, oh, had forgotten about it and kicked the bucket over, and the kitten was lying there dead. So I think that's where it's coming from. But that's a story he told. He's probably going to go on to say here, oh well, that was just a joke. That was shock jock thing, which is kind of a weird thing to joke about. It's like, he killed a cat. It's like, oh, really? Oh, okay. The pedo stuff, like that's the whole age of consent thing. Like I have to admit, I've always said that I think that is really, really overblown for Wings. I think people just kind of took that and ran with it to try and make it seem as bad as possible. The white bean thing, I've never heard of the white bean thing.
Hey, did you find any white killing or animal killing?
Well, the thing is, Jordy has said some ridiculous stuff in the past. He's said some really fucked up shit, man. Like I can't.
Like what?
Jordy,
like
the things you said, even as a shock value, whatever, it's just insane. Like what? Like the age? Yes, I did say the age consent should be 12. That was a quote from Jordy. So that,
You want me to explain that one to you?
No, I know.
No,
the
we
context,
heard the
but just
explanation.
even saying it, like I know you weren't serious. I know you're joking.
And I said it in a forum, which was a comedy podcast designed to make people laugh and to get people to click. That doesn't mean that that's what I'm thinking.
I completely
okay. See, I get that he's trying to be funny, but see, my biggest problem is like this is kind of an argument like people like Boogie use when they say something dumb. And they probably thought people would accept it and be like, that actually makes a lot of sense. But then they get pushed back on, like, well, it's just a joke. Like, if you see Boogie, like, arguing with people online, he will say something, like, ridiculous, and people will call him out for it. And then he will respond, be like, haha, oh my god, so many people got baited. I baited you so hard. Haha, I baited you guys. You got owned. And then someone will respond and be like, that's actually a really good point. He goes, yeah, I did actually think it was a good point. And a lot of people misunderstood it. And he will argue both sides. Because if someone is happy with his opinion, he will act like, yes, this is actually my opinion. If someone is negative to his opinion, he will, oh, well, you got trolled because I wasn't even being serious, haha. So when Wings is doing this, like, oh, I was just being a shock jock, it's like, yes, I get you're probably like exaggerating and trying to be funny, but it seems I don't know. Going with a joke of my joke solely is that age of consent should be lowered. It's like, where's the joke, bro? You know?
Fully aware of that, Jordy, and you disavow those statements, correct?
100% in
Yeah,
the
of
New York
course.
Times.
No, 100%. But it's just, even just saying those, even in a comedic fashion, it can be dangerous. I know it's not true. I know like all that is just bullshit. But it's just, it's a really bad image. It's just a dangerous image to have.
Don't you
Right,
understand?
but
The
I've
person
said it,
that
you can't take.
Well, to be
Yeah,
fair,
I
that was a decade ago. It's not like he's saying those things today, is he?
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't wait a minute.
And I also
try
was
to-
young and dumb. Like when I was,
Didn't he like during the documentary at some point he reconfirmed his reasoning for saying it, and it like obviously the big problem with Jordy is he's always looked the same like the entire time. So like I don't know how recent the more recent version of him was explaining why he said it. You know, Boogie of course is going to be the type of person who said, well, he said that 10 years ago, so it just doesn't count anymore. If someone did something bad 10 years ago, it would still count. Like I think this shouldn't be considered bad, not because it was said 10 years ago, but because it was a joke. I think that's why you should be looking at it saying, well, it was clearly a joke, him saying that, as opposed to, well, he said it 10 years ago. It's like, yeah, but if people are saying it as not a joke, the 10 years thing doesn't mean anything.
when I said shit like that, I didn't think the internet was going to last. Like, well, not the internet was going to last, but I didn't think I was going to last on the internet. I'd eventually just, fall out and just go back and get a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's why I don't believe that you are any of those things. I'm just saying that that's why you have such a poor image. It's because of that history. I understand it. I'm trying to put it in a way to explain that some people don't, because they don't just see that.
I mean, the fact that 10 years have gone by and none of this has ever came about me, it's not like I'm EDP 445 here.
No, I don't.
You never.
I can't believe this has come up again. Like the Lolcow podcast, like Boogie literally used that as his own defense about his girlfriend. he always said, "Well, guys, at least I'm not EDP 405." And like Wings is not using the same argument. Guys, if your only argument is, "Well, at least I'm not like an actual predator," it's like gold star, I guess.
I mean, that is
from my knowledge, you never acted on any of that.
Well, we had this conversation when we first met, and you were explaining yourself, and you didn't have to explain yourself. You didn't have to explain yourself. Like I almost did a video on you about 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago you had some crazy allegations come out. Nothing has ever come through. Nothing has ever been solid other than that quote that they take out of context.
I'd like to think at this point, just about most of the things that the trolls have tried to come up with. What I'm a woman abuser. Well, I would like to think women would come forward if that was a thing, right? Like 40.
Well, can we? I love it. Biggie's now just made this about himself, and like the one woman who has come forward who said it, Biggie's like, nah, she doesn't count. She doesn't count. She was actually the bad one.
9 years of dating, someone would have come through.
And they
I
have.
would like to think, right?
And they did.
If I was doing awful things to children, I mean, it's absurd. And I think given as long enough.
But the woman did come forward, and you just said no, she just doesn't count. People don't think that you've been with lots of women. That's the thing. See, Biggie has this really weird idea where he's like, oh, well, surely women would have come forward. The Me Too era happened. Surely all these women would have come forward. It's like, yeah, bro, but people don't think you actually had girlfriends. People don't. You had your ex-wife, who you've claimed is under a non-disparagement clause. Like, you've claimed that. They also changed it to an NDA, changed it back and forth. Oh, she was on it, I'm on it, she wasn't on it, I wasn't on it, she wasn't on it. It's over now, it ended, but it's still keeping on for just me for some reason. He's changed it constantly, and that is just about his ex-wife. His previous girlfriend, who's the only one people think might even be real, the Danny girl, she's dead, so I don't think she can come forward, unless, I don't know, someone wants to whop out a fucking Ouija board. Lucy Fox came forwards. And then, do we think he's had any other girlfriends since then and not just paid prostitutes? Like, if you're just paying prostitutes, what's the chance of them coming forwards? Especially if you're only having short engagements with them. You can pretend to be a normal person for a short engagement with a woman. So, Boogie's argument has never made sense. Especially when he's trying to, hold him being, abusive to women as the same as Wings' age of consent from, a decade ago. These two are not even close to being comparable.
Timeline, anything like that would have obviously come out by now if it had. Same with Jordy. Those comments were made a decade ago. Nothing like them has been said. Nothing has come to light. I genuinely don't think Jordy's like that. But I do think both me and Jordy were raised in a similar environment where shock jocks were a thing. Howard Stern, Sam Kinison, stand-up comics. We were raised on that type of comedy.
Yeah, and that type of comedy is still being about. I was raised on those type of jokes as well. I was raised on people saying edgy humor. Edgy humor has always been around. Edgy humor will always be about. Boogie tries to make it sound like because these two are quite a different in age. What Wings is 35, 36, 37, something like that. Boogie's a full 10 years older than Wings. And they're trying to make it sound like they're the same guy who grew up in the same neighborhood watching the same shows. It's quite a difference in age. There's quite a difference in age between Boogie, Wings, and then me, And I grew up in edgy humor as well. Edgy humor is just constant. It's not a special thing. This argument is like, well, I grew up in Sam Kinison that Boogie likes to claim constantly. It doesn't change anything. It just doesn't.
Where you would tell a joke, and the entire joke was, I don't mean the thing I'm saying.
No,
That's
yeah.
the entire joke. You would
I
say
definitely
something
was
just
too.
right, and so to have that in their past, I mean, I certainly shouldn't have it in my present, and I still do, unfortunately. I still consume that type of comedy. I still watch it. I love.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, right? Is the exact example I was going to give. But I still go back and listen to Sam Kinison. I still go back and listen to Andrew Dice Clay. I go back and listen to George.
Didn't he like shit on Dave Chappelle for like his whole thing? I think he did. I'm not 100% sure. My biggest argument would be like, okay, if Wings is saying it as a joke. See, the problem is then Wings tries to go on and clarify what he means about it, and that takes away from the idea of it being a joke. Like, do I think he means it? No, but when you're trying to say, oh, he was just a shock jock, he was saying this to be shocking. But then like Wings is the type of person who like tries to explain it and give rationale. Like even here during the podcast, he tried to be like, do you want to know why I said it? Do you want to know why I said it? And try to explain it. That takes away from it being a joke. If there's an explanation for why you feel like that, it feels like less of a joke. That's the biggest problem. That's why these guys are lolcows, because they can't control themselves. They can't just say, yeah, it was just a bad joke. Because that's all you need to say is, yeah, that was a bad joke. But when you go, it was a bad joke. However, the reason I felt like that was, and then they try and explain the reasoning behind you saying it, it's like, well, that was it a joke, or do you feel that way, but you're trying to pass it off like humor?
Carlin, Richard Pryor. I listen to all these very edgy comedians because I love that type
It annoys me as well that Boogie's just so much quieter than everyone else here.
sense of humor. And the entire joke for most of those guys was, I obviously would not do these things. I obviously do not mean these things. I obviously am saying these things for the pure shock value. And it's just, I don't know, it's heartbreaking to see that haunt you the way that it has, Jordy. And you also mentioned, like, well, I thought one day I'd be able to go get a real job. A comment like that will haunt you into a real job. Outside of the documentary, I have pursued employment in the last year. Asked around, talked about it. Never really talked about it much other than on my live streams and now here. And
I've watched his live streams. He hasn't really talked about his pursuit to get other jobs. I've watched a lot of his live streams. He doesn't really talk about all the jobs. I haven't really heard him talk about that whatsoever.
When you Google me, it is not a pleasant experience because of the jokes and the things I've said and the things I've been accused of. That kind of stuff will haunt you into the real world. And
this would have made more sense if like Sam Talkie still is just sort of Kiwi Farms, just like front page in Google. But like if you search like Stephen Williams, you're not getting like Stephen Williams confirmed people who like beats his wife. You know, you aren't getting that.
And
I'm fully aware. That's why I did DoorDash on the side, because like when the money was low, I was trying to do DoorDash and they got me canned off that.
The DoorDash thing was stupid by Wings.
All it takes is somebody to recognize you, and then these people like latch on and just like spam call the like whatever you employed at to get.
Which yes is true, but at the same time, Wings also like openly said he was doing DoorDash and also live streamed whilst doing DoorDash, from what I remember. And he showed like his receipts sometimes, which is like just really stupid. Like, don't draw attention to it. Like the fact that he drew attention to it nearly felt like he was trying to get fucking canned. Because it's why would you draw attention to this if you know your haters are going to act like it? It's like the argument always with Boogie and his claims like, oh, I don't want to ever talk about a girlfriend again because people are evil and they'll go after my girlfriend. And then he immediately, once Des 2 moves in, he like instantly starts talking about her online with a fucking like ridiculous story as to why he had to dox her. It's like, just keep it hidden and then people might not talk about it at all.
You fired with these allegations. Like, for example, like they'll take what I said on PKA and they'll wrap it
I want to
up.
get you guys back on track with June's video. Okay,
yes, please. Thank you.
So I have a couple questions, and maybe June can help me out on this.
Yeah, sure.
All right, just a handful of notes that I kind of pulled out. When Chris Hansen did a cameo of you,
ridiculous.
Wings, you seem to actually believe it wasn't. It was
going to be an investigation.
Is that the case? That it wasn't just like a fiver. You seem to be quite jolted
I
in the
honestly
video.
don't remember Chris Hansen. Did I say something on it?
Yeah,
Yes.
well, if he wants to investigate me all he wants. Yeah, it was really funny. What about Kurt Angle?
But that's the whole thing. Like, he can investigate all he
Kurt
wants.
Angle was great.
No.
Come to your house.
There's something people
so
don't know about
stupid.
me. Like, I've had the ATF and the FBI go through every
We're talking about his video, Jordy.
Yes.
We're talking about his video. We keep going on YouTube, Boogie. We keep going on your personal stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
This video ain't about Joon the King's video. It's about his allegations towards me.
June's allegations towards you? June isn't making allegations towards you. Where's June's allegations coming from? June made a video covering things, and he included like you reacting to the Chris Hansen video, and you reacting to like the Kevin Nash or Kurt Angle video. I can't remember which one Boogie reacted to. That's it. Like Tommy's right. They are just going off and like talking about merriment about how hard their lives are in this little lame therapy session.
He didn't make any. I don't think he made an allegation. He just put the stuff out there that was already hanging there. And he basically takes down your trolls.
Yeah,
and basically,
I'd like to know a single allegation, just one.
Yeah.
Well, that's an allegation that I thought he was reinforcing me. Like I most likely was just playing along with it.
Okay.
What?
That's why we ask questions.
That's not an allegation. He literally just played. He played the bit, and he showed Wings reacting to it, and Wings was the one who said that. This what June wasn't making an allegation, but with that, like he showed Wings reacting to it, and Wings is the one who was like, "Oh well, if he wants to make an investigation," and he was talking to one of his teammates in Rainbow Six, and he's like, "My trolls are convinced." Chris Hansen and doing an investigation. That was what Wings thought.
Sarcasm, like
that wasn't sarcasm.
Okay.
Like I'm not worried about Chris Hansen.
Jordy,
Okay.
like,
First off,
if I can offer you some criticism, if
Oh
I may,
God,
you
Boogie
do not
don't.
do sarcasm well. And that's coming from me, and obviously I'm not very good at it either.
Yeah.
But most of the time when you are being sarcastic,
I'm sorry. This is what I would say. Where you come from, like these when it's these two giving therapy to each other, and like Boogie's going, "Oh, Wings, you shouldn't do sarcastic jokes anymore, bro. You should have killed your fake Andy Kaufman excuse 4 years ago."
it is very believable, right? Like you would fit in great on Parks and Rec. You would fit in great on The Office, right? Like dry humor would be the internet. Your live stream ain't a place for that, man. And it gets you in trouble every time, and it breaks my heart.
But it wasn't.
it's my delivery.
And it breaks my heart to see what is with Boogie's entirely new personality he's downloaded just for this fucking. It breaks my heart to see you being torn apart. Like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about?
How come
My
your delivery's so
delivery's
much better here?
Very straight.
Your delivery,
That's
you
really- yeah,
kill
it's really
here.
straight.
You know where I got that from? I
Really
got that from watching XCal videos. All right, June, what do you want to ask me?
What do I want to? Man, there's somebody me just like out of the blue.
Yeah,
Why
Go to
should-
work,
out of the blue,
June.
ask me something.
Seriously, sweet. Okay, well, just a random one, right? Whenever Keemstar went to your house to record for the fight, did he plant those Pepsis in your fridge, or did you actually just have them?
100%.
He planted them. Okay,
100%.
That's what I was wondering.
Like, because at the time of the fight, I was having nightmares about fighting Boogie, and I'll admit this, because like
I remember
Boogie
saying
was
that,
talking
yeah.
about like he was training, he had all these trainers, and like he was working out. So like this made me work out
the 10
harder.
grand
Like I was showing like pictures of
expenses.
like where like the skin was like rubbing raw because I was punching the bag 2 hours a day and carrying water and things like this. So like I was eating super clean, and I was
I have to admit, I don't know how much I believe him. Maybe he could have won muscle, which would throw it a wee bit. But Wings went down from like 420 pounds, 420 something pounds, to about 408 pounds was he for the weigh-in? You would have thought he would have lost more than like, let's say like 20 pounds, for example, across like the 2 months he had. When he was like apparently punching the bag 2 hours a day, carrying stuff everywhere, eating super clean, you'd think Wings would have lost in that time. He could have lost probably like 60 pounds.
kind of cheating, taking this drug called Ozempic, which is like a diabetic drug.
Especially on Ozempic, especially if he's taking Ozempic. Like I've seen like Amberlynn. Amberlynn lost a lot of weight recently, and is solely because of Ozempic. Chantel lost a lot of weight solely because of Ozempic. Because Ozempic is like, it was for people with diabetes, but apparently people in like Hollywood take it to help cut weight instantly and super quickly, because Ozempic just helps you burn weight magically somehow. I have no idea how it works, but everyone I've seen who takes Ozempic loses so much weight super quickly. If Wings was apparently working out 2 hours a day, eating super clean, and taking Ozempic, he should have lost way more than 20 pounds.
But it also has like the ability to make you lose weight.
Wait a minute, you cheated in the fight?
But
Should it
but
be
that's
awarded
not,
to
like,
Boogie
taking
then?
steroids or anything for anybody out there. That's not.
Did you take a piss test?
No, like taking
I'll
a weight
take
loss
the
drug is
victory if
not
I can get
cheating.
it. I'll
yeah,
take
I
the
was gonna
victory,
say,
yeah.
did you just confess to cheating in the fight? Maybe Boogie.
I mean, they weren't giving me Ozempic. I couldn't get that stuff.
And they knew I was on
Fuck it out,
Ozempic
you
during the
want
fight too, because they had a doctor that come out there and ask you all the medicines you're on and stuff like that.
I have asthma, and I wanted to bring my
Does he have asthma? Yeah, he did claim that in his list of medical reasons. Okay.
asthma inhaler to the ring so that I could hit it afterwards because I knew I was going to need it, and they wouldn't let that at ringside because
Yeah,
they told
'cause
me it was
it's
a
got steroids in it.
performance enhancer.
Yeah,
and
it's
so I'm
got
surprised.
stuff
Yeah, it has a steroid. I'm not really sure because like there are sports stars who like can take inhalers. I don't know what boxing the commission like how they'd be about it, but I'm sure he probably could have had it if he wanted it.
To hear they let you have Monjourno or whatever, Ozempic or whatever.
Let's get back on to
Ozempic,
June's thing.
yeah.
June's our guest.
Yes,
June's our
please,
guest. Do
thank
you have any more
God.
questions for him, June, or any statements or interests?
So you can ask me anything you want to ask, but yeah, the Pepsi's 100% planted. Like we actually.
This is the problem. This is my biggest problem. Like, because Boogie did the same thing with Turkey Tom, where Boogie did a confrontation where he was confronting Turkey Tom for the documentary on him, and then he came out and he was like, "Oh yeah, I skimmed it. I didn't really watch it, so I can't really comment on it. But I say you're lying. Everything you said in it's a big lie. You're a terrible person for it. All that kind of shit." He did all that stuff against Turkey Tom, and then they did a confrontation, and it was like, "Now, Turkey Tom, is there anything you want to approach me about your video?" About your issues with me, about your video. And it's just like, No, you're the one who's having an issue with his video. Why don't you come and say, you said this at this timestamp. That is a lie. Here's the evidence. That's the kind of shit that she should be doing in this to make it interesting. That's why I say Wings has kind of let the side down here. Everyone's like, I barely watched it. I don't fucking know. June, you might as well just ask me questions about stuff that you want to know. It's like, no. You should be confronting him. This is the confrontation. When he's confronted by serious allegations, where's the confrontation? Where's the serious allegations so far?
Bought them when the time was there, because I think he did the same thing with Boogie. Like he planted like some real Mountain Dews over there.
Oh no,
Sure.
I had. Well, yeah,
Oh, you actually
they
just
did
had
bring.
them?
No, they did bring
No.
real Mountain Dews, but I had Diet Mountain Dew. I'll drink a
Sure.
Diet Mountain Dew on the way to the ring, just to be honest with you. I needed caffeine. I needed
Yeah.
my drug of choice. My drug of choice.
No,
was
you
Diet
looked like
Mountain
you were
Dew.
exhausted by the time you got into the
Oh,
ring.
I was 110%. But the point is, like, you don't keep any of that stuff in your fridge at all. Do you have it in your fridge now?
What about the Coca-Cola?
Really?
What about the Coca-Cola in the last episode? You had a Coca-Cola box mountain.
You know, if I went to your fridge right now, no Pepsi.
No,
You had
here's my
Coca-Cola
thing with
last
Pepsi.
episode.
Like, I'm a fucking soda addict. Like
June,
people wanna
do
say,
you
like,
wanna
oh, I
know
eat like
more
shit.
about
No,
his
I drink like
Pepsis?
shit. Like I drink
June.
nearly all my calories.
No, that's all. That's my only question about Pepsi. Was just that one.
That was the only. Okay, all right. Because I just
Only-
want to be sure.
Do you?
Wings seems so annoyed every time he gets interrupted when he wants to do his wee monologue here.
Yeah, that was just the Pepsi.
I have to admit, I think this episode, like, I know, broken record, guys, I'm sorry. Look at his face. Look at his face down here. I think it's would be better if it was just, like, a moderated debate between these three. Boogie being here, it feels totally unnecessary. He's just coming in to, like, I don't know, pretend to be a nice person every once in a while. It's very cringe. It would have been better if it was, like, a debate between, and Wings was actually made to watch it. Or, like I said, if they sat down and they just watched June's documentary and paused it every couple of minutes to like discuss it, or like Wings could interrupt anytime he wanted to interrupt. That would be way more interesting than what they're doing here.
See, that was the entire Pepsi thing.
That's it. What's all you want to know?
Yeah.
Now
No,
you know.
It's
okay.
just jittering.
Do you like finally own your trailer?
First off, it's a modular home.
Oh, the modular home.
Like-
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Because like calling it a trailer is not factually correct.
Oh,
because
my bad,
my
my
house
bad.
doesn't have wheels or a tongue, and it cannot move. It's actually deeded to the
So it
land.
just looks like a trailer.
And I'm going to be long-winded here. Can I be long-winded, Tommy? Am I allowed
Sure.
to?
Oh
Ask
my-
June.
Oh,
I don't
he's
know.
so
Go ahead.
annoyed. He's so annoyed.
Okay.
You're allowed to. Tommy probably interrupt you. He has every right to interrupt
Yeah, that's
you.
my
but
job.
Yeah, go ahead.
But,
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is the guy I've gotten to know in the last 6 months, and it sucks having watched June's video today, and to see the hell that people have put you through, man. Like I genuinely love you, dude. I like, I mean, I say that word very loosely because I'm a pretty big-hearted guy, but like, I genuinely care.
I'm sorry, I just have to jump in because I'm going to skip like everything that came before because like there's stuff about like the mom, cheating him out of a finance deal, back and forth, that over and over and over again. Everyone's heard that. Everyone knows that. Like honestly, it wasn't interesting enough for them to have dedicated this long to it. But just for Boogie coming in and just acting like you're such a good person, and that's the person I love. And I said Lucy because I'm a very nice person. I'm a very big-hearted person. I love so much. So, okay, bro. he's like one of the most hateful people I think I've ever fucking seen online. He's like a terrible person, but he just has to do this whole spiel so he can then remind people. But I am a really nice person. I'm a really big-hearted, lovely person to myself. Okay, Boogie, thanks for letting us know.
About you, man. And it sucks. It's like this story breaks my heart.
Sure.
Well,
You don't care about me.
to be fair,
I don't know you that well,
it's-
Tommy. We'll need a 2-hour June the King video
it's
first.
better. It's better now. And like most of the stuff that the June video talks about was year plus old, other than like the fight,
Which June video are you fucking talking about? Because you apparently didn't even watch it.
right?
Yeah, but it's the
Like
last
the
year.
trolls really
I-
haven't fucked with me that hard.
He says in the damn video that things have changed.
Like the
for
only
you.
thing the trolls really did this year was the ATF.
Yeah, which he goes in. Which he go. I mean,
Tommy, you keep coming at me like I watched the entire video when I told
you
you
didn't watch
before, I skimmed
anything.
the
I
thing.
want you to
don't know
admit that you
everything
didn't
said
watch.
in the
I
video.
want you to admit that you didn't watch a god thing and you thought he was somebody else.
But that's
I want
your
you to
issue.
admit that.
Like,
I can't admit that because it's not true.
Wings, can you point out anything specific in the video? Maybe things you didn't like, maybe things I got wrong. If there's anything I actually got wrong.
The only part of the video I watched more than like a few minutes of was the fight because I wanted to watch myself beat Boogie up again. But but like
So nothing.
I don't know. I just didn't like the tone of the video more so than the
What
content
the
of it itself. Like,
He's what do you mean
if
the
I sat
tone?
down
He's-
and watched it,
he's
maybe
deadpan.
maybe I should do.
you watched like 1 minute of it. You watched like 1 minute. I didn't like the tone of this video. Very wrong.
Would
He
you-
uses
God.
a deadpan voice. What tone,
tone?
could possibly be trollish or he has a deadpan delivery? Like how could the tone be off? I don't even understand that.
Tommy C interrupt Wings of Redemption all episodes.
I don't care. You can't say that.
Tommy
Here's the deal.
C doesn't let Wings of Redemption. I mean, like that's what.
That's
That's what
why he said it shows
you
everything.
see, it's all about context. It's all about how the voice and everything goes. Like,
right.
I know the context. I actually watched the video, Wings.
Yeah.
well, to be fair,
There's a lot more editing and like jump cuts in this one than there are in the usual ones.
we're supposed to have Chris Chan on this episode, and like this was put together in like a span of 4 hours.
It really was.
You
It was
didn't
really
watch it.
So, well, the video's only an hour and 20 minutes long. It was put together in 4 hours. It's like, oh, so you could have watched it 3 times then. Well, that claim doesn't mean anything. We're meant to have Chris Chan on. No, you weren't. You were never going to get Chris Chan on. Chris Chan came out and like said how like the podcast pretty much is beneath me, and the title of Lolcow is beneath him. Yeah, it's like you were never having Chris Chan on. Maybe it's your fault for like randomly just assuming you're gonna get Chris Chan on.
God,
Yeah,
it's okay.
like we were coming into this week.
So you can admit you didn't watch it. That's fine. I understand if you didn't watch it.
I mean, like literally, it's like I'm like, okay, you guys want to roast me? I'm cool with it. Let's do it.
I mean, to defend,
you're not.
Jordy,
You're so
I will say
annoyed.
haven't watched some of Joon's videos in the past. But anybody's videos about me, Turkey Tom's or whatever. I find it very painful sometimes to watch that stuff. So
Of course
and
it would
I'm
be.
pain
Diddums.
adverse, right? So like the last time I watched one of your
But big diddums for you, Boogie. Because okay, there's a couple of options. Like there's a couple of options. Like you can be like, okay, well I'm pain averse. I don't want to watch a video like that. And it's like that's fine. Then don't like say that you've watched some of it and that Turkey Tom's a racist. Or that Joon the King's a terrible person, that they're lying about you. Oh, I bet they don't even believe that about me. They actually love me. They're wrong all the time. They're spreading misinformation, slander. Maybe don't do all of that shit if you haven't watched it. Or if you are watching it, don't then come out here and like lie about it. I don't know. It's like I said, having Boogie on here just feels like kind of totally unnecessary when it should be like these three having a debate about the episode and having Wings actually have watched the episode.
videos, Joon, and I only watched like 60-70% of it. I watched as much of it as I could.
Sure.
There are parts where I had to skip forward. I said this, I think, in the tweet that you retweeted. But that said, like, I have to see this outside perspective of myself. I have to see these
No, you
painful
don't.
memories. I have to see so much. So, like Jordy, it's okay to admit that
He doesn't accept any. I saw him on live stream watch the full Sunny V2 video where it was pretty much just him saying Sunny's lying. He's got a hard on for me. He's got a hate boner for me. He's a bad person. He's a terrible person. He's lying about me here. He's making this up. He's exaggerating this. I never did this. Over and over and over. Like that was the entire reaction to the Sunny V2 video.
you don't watch the stuff about yourself.
Yeah, I'm
Like
not.
anybody
I
in the same
100%.
situation would do the same thing.
Jordy, you know why I'm in
Death
your
by
ass
1,000
right now?
cuts.
Jordy,
That's
Jordy,
what I look
you know
at.
why I'm in your
You
ass
live
right
in that
now?
realm.
Hey, Jordy, you know why I'm in your ass right now? Because I don't think you're telling the truth. I watched the
Why is
video.
that?
It's neutral as hell. It's caring as hell. The video, the title is like brilliant because you go in thinking like Wings is f***ed up. When you realize you watch the whole thing, you realize the trolls are f***ed up. They're the ones running out of content. Like, it's a good video, man. And that's why I'm like, that's why I'm irritated here because he did a good job and he doesn't seem. And I worked with Joon before. And he doesn't seem like a bad, vicious person. And he has a deadpan delivery. He's neutral. I'm sure he makes mistakes, right? But I mean, this is super fair.
I walked into this episode expecting you and Joon to come out like with a at least a acquaintanceship, I should say, like, because I mean, genuinely, he went to bat for you in this video and against some really crazy, dangerous people. Like, I wouldn't want to draw an X on.
Crazy dangerous people. Okay. Like I said, it feels unnecessary. Boogie just like waiting in here when Boogie is like the exact type of person who acts exactly the same way as Wings. So it's really cringe to see him try and act like Wings. I'm surprised about your reaction. I was expecting something, but like everyone has seen how he reacts. Like if someone makes a video on him, Boogie will phone that person and trauma dump on them for hours on end until they feel bad for him or they're scared of him and they then show up and say that they think he was going to sue them. You know, that's what Boogie does with his detractors. People Riveter, he got on the phone, he trauma dumped for at least 2 hours. That's what People Riveter said. So much so that People Riveter took down his criticism, tweets and video on Boogie and told Boogie he needs to go to therapy because like it's such a serious thing. He will never repeat it and everything like that. And how then Boogie tried to suck up to him and said, "Oh, but keep making videos. I want you to grow and make a name off me." All that kind of shit. Just trying to manipulate People Riveter. And then you have FPS Butter Golem, who Boogie apparently spent like up to 4 hours on the phone with. So much so that FPS deleted all of his content, even the stuff that wasn't about Boogie, even just his live streams where he was watching like Jack Scalfani cooking shit. And then, I don't know, he came into my like podcast, sorry, my live stream, like in May, at the time of the boxing match, and said he was scared that Boogie was going to sue him. Like, this is how Boogie handles his detractors. But he's sitting going, I thought you'd be friends with Joon after this.
My forehead with some of the people he was roasting in this video. He was destroying those people, and he was doing it because he was. I mean, that's why it's so frustrating. Like I got linked this video 2 hours before record time, and then we got an extra bonus hour. And I watched it in 1.5 times speed. And I don't know, man. I really wish you would watch it because this would be a completely different episode had you even actually skimmed it. If I'm being honest, if you even skimmed it, I think you would have realized that it was a very positive video for you.
Yeah, Jordy, that's I think a recurring
I know
issue.
you just
because this is my
shrugs.
third video about you, and I noticed several times that you'll be talking about like a video about you, something, and you'll say like, "Wow, that sucked. This is terrible," but you don't point out specifics, and then what that does is people assume you didn't watch the video, and you don't, and that makes things like much worse for you in the future.
Yeah, which
Well,
is exactly
the
what
reason I
Boogie
watch
does.
the videos is death by a thousand cuts.
I know
like
that.
if you stay in that headspace,
Sure.
I try like generally when I turn off.
It is not like there's a lot of videos being like these guys make it sound like they have to deal with like hundreds of videos about them a day. Like Boogie and Wings really make it sound like Amber Lynn and Foodie Beauty have like dozens upon dozens of reactors who put out content about them. They have like an entire sphere, the whole girl world thing, the Hater Nation thing. That is like an actual thing. They have cliques inside girl world where they have like this group of creators get together and they make content and they hate this other group who make content about Foodie Beauty, and that group hates this group and this group hates this group, and they've got like the defenders and they've got detractors and they're all like fighting amongst themselves, which seems to be like what Wings is like trolls are kind of doing a wee bit of. But Wings only has a couple of major trolls. Like Foodie Beauty and Amberlyn have like loads. Like when like a documentary comes out, this isn't like a reaction video, it's like a documentary. It's not like there's a documentary out about Wings every week or every month or maybe even every 6 months. It's not that common. Same thing for Boogie. When Boogie acts like on a video drops from him, it's like the end of the world. The most videos that come out about Boogie have been since the documentary. And before that, I was one of the biggest Boogie detractors because no one else was doing it. So when these people are like, I couldn't bring myself to watch the video, it's like, bro, it's one fucking video in like a 6-month period.
Like the stream, I turn off YouTube. Like I go into my own little world where I watch like people rebuild old cars and shit like that. That's what I like. So like I don't want to live in that realm where like people constantly think I'm this bad person that beats his wife.
Yeah, why not
Watch it on live stream and make money from it.
just
Jordy,
say
that's
that?
completely understandable. I wouldn't watch like critical videos about me, but you shouldn't lie, is what I'm saying.
I didn't lie. I said I skimmed the video.
Barely.
Right, but I'm just talking about like
part.
general like things in the past. But skim, like so you said you skimmed the video, but like can you point out anything specific besides like the fight?
I told her
proof.
like I mean like
Just anything. You watched it like
say-
what, 2 hours ago? Just anything to prove you watched the video.
no I watched it last night like,
Oh, okay.
on my tablet. Like
Even though you only had 4 hours notice before the start, he's literally you see the screenshots, he's literally bringing the fucking video up now to try and find stuff. Like, just lie. You've already talked about a bunch of things that happened in the video, so just say, oh yeah, I remember like, when Tommy said that, or yeah, I remember that. I remember saying that. Just lie. This is like, we're at the point where June is saying, wait, just don't lie, because this is what makes you look bad and what gets you negative attention. And he immediately is now into lie mode because he's been caught in a lie that now apparently didn't even skim the video.
It's been when it first came out.
like I said, like it's mainly just the context in itself. Like if I had the video sitting in front of me,
What?
I could point it out, but I couldn't do it off the top of my head. No.
Not a single thing to prove that you skimmed. Not just one, the smallest thing that I said, anything like at all.
I obviously knew you talked about the fight. I seen that you went
Right.
into like troll
So?
Discord DMs. I seen you talk about like the how like I was trying to make money with the games attorney and like the Keemstar like
Nope.
thing.
No?
Like,
Yeah,
I've
the
watched-
fight, yeah.
Yeah, like I skimmed it just to learn the narrative of the video, just to have some foundation, because I thought this was going to be like you're going to come in
I
here.
have to admit, I don't even remember the games attorney being mentioned in that video, so maybe I'm wrong there, but I don't remember the games attorney being mentioned.
You're going to ask me questions, not talk about the video itself.
Oh, like as if I was interviewing. Well, I mean, yeah.
Why would you do something like that? Where would be the fun be? And it's like, oh, we'll bring on June to interview Wings. It's like, why wouldn't you just do that on your live stream then instead of the Lolcow podcast? Like, isn't this going to be you like arguing and confronting him and like challenging him on points? It also probably is a bad idea to have brought on someone like June who is like so like neutral and down the road, because if it's spicier, if you had someone on like Mr. Snowflake with Boogie, because Mr. Snowflake actively seems to dislike Boogie. Like everyone seems to say like I'm like terrible with Boogie, but like Mr. Snowflake seems to dislike Boogie a lot more than I do. Maybe bring on people like that who are more likely going to have an argument. That'd be like more interesting to watch than June, who they're saying going, that was a really fair, really nice video actually. It's like, well, where's the drama then? The only drama so far is that Wings is like bad at dealing with trolls or anyone being critical of him. That's the only drama so far. If Wings had actually sat down and watched this, there would be nothing in this video apart from, yeah, I agree, the trolls are bad. Yep, I agree with that too.
I searched so many hours on you. Like I said, this is my third video. I've watched so many PK episodes, and on like the topic of that, like how is?
Let me ask you a question
Yeah,
on that.
go ahead.
What do you think about the PK situation with them kicking me off?
I think
it's totally
it was
fine.
very much justified
Yeah,
because of the
Why?
camping trip. Why? because of,
Personally, I think that is actually something that is pretty justified as well. Like, just the way Wings was getting on with the podcast in general. He was arguing with guests. He was having like massive blowouts. He was agreeing to do things that they all agreed to do. That it was going to be fun. It was going to push it forward. And then he was just backing out. It wasn't like he mentioned like the camping trip, and the camping trip was certainly like the end part of it. But throughout the entire run on PK, he was arguing with guests. He was having fallouts with other hosts. He was insulting other hosts. He was having continuous issues. So it does make sense that eventually they just had the point where like, do you know what? This guy is bad news. Because imagine if PK had kept him on. Like imagine like him drawing his fan base to PKA.
commitment, right? It's just, it's not a very fun thing, Jordy. Because like let's say my group of friends, right? If we agreed on something and then we're all invested and we're going to go to this thing and then we're all going and then like the night of, one of my friends just backs out. And not just that, like it's a history of my friend just not being the greatest person. At that point, I feel investing in this person that has shown themselves to be unreliable in like a business setting
100%.
is not really great for me. So at the time, I think.
Well, first off, at the time, PK wasn't a business. We profited, but we profited like
then it's a business.
$200 like every 3 months or something
Then it's a
like
business.
That's money.
Because like here's what you're not understanding, right?
Like it doesn't matter. well, actually, it's not a business because we didn't actually earn that much, but we still were earning. It's like, what counterpoint is that? Well, it's not fair that they kicked me off because at that point we weren't profitable. But once they kicked me off, we became profitable. It's like, well, that sounds bad for you then.
Like I pulled the boat when they were smaller channels, and then they got bigger than me, right?
So?
And there was a period in my life during that time I lost my big contract, and I went through a spiraling depression.
So
I was trying to do things to try to make myself get undepressed. Like that's why, like, for example, this one always gets brought up. I wanted to go to a concert. I wanted to go to a Flog and Molly concert, and that concert happened to fall on the day.
Flog and Molly concert? Out of fucking boy! I didn't know he liked Flog and Molly. It's despite our me and Wings' now obvious shared Irish heritage. It's still so like it's like, okay, you were bigger than them at one point. So do they owe you? Because yes, at one point you were the biggest one, and you kind of carried the podcast for a bit until you didn't. Like, so it's like Boogie, when Boogie talks about PK, Boogie will often say, they used me for clout until they couldn't use me for clout anymore, and then they kicked me to the curb. They're two-faced, they're treacherous, they're awful people. He made all those claims about the PK boys. Even though, like, I went through and I crunched the number, because Boogie was on, like, the PK, like, 12 times. 6 times was when he got more views than them on average. 6 times when he got less views than them on average. And it's like, so you're just factually wrong to start with. And it's like, they don't owe you. It's like, so, okay, yes, you at one point, you may have been good for them to have on their show because you were popular. But you're not popular anymore. They're not your friends. This is a business. Like, it is a business. It is trying to get attention online. Sure, maybe it's nice if they invite you on for like a bit of fun, but like it's not owed to you. You know, it's a professional world. This isn't like buddy friendship world.
Ever recorded, right? If I asked Boogie or Tommy, like, hey man, can we record before or the day before, the day after? All good, you know, we'll accommodate, right? And that's usually what would happen. But that day, Woody's like, no, you come to work. I'm like, I don't get paid for this. And at the time, I was like, yo, we should really monetize this because I was struggling financially. Like, I was living off savings because I was in a spiraling depression. I wasn't really working. I was doing a lot of things that were detrimental to Jordy because my mind wasn't in the right place. So instead of being like a good friend and trying to nurture me through this, they wanted to.
You're a grown man. Like how much do they need to like nurture you? This is the biggest problem. It's like because he's fallen into the same trap that Boogie falls into with the house things. Like, why didn't he pay off a house? Well, dead men don't need houses. He's fallen into the exact. Well, guys, 10 years ago I was depressed. So you know they were still bad people because 10 years ago I was depressed and they kicked me off the show. It's like, well, no, it's if you're trying to say it's this long ago that people can't hold you to like the edgy weird joke you made, then it's 10 years past. You probably should like let them off with this shit.
To like just show tough love, be like, come to work, show up and this and that, not understand or reach out to me like, yo, he might be going through something fucked up, because I try to keep to myself a lot, so it's not all their fault. Well, but then the thing happens and we're going to do it, and then like here's the line of thinking, here's the reason I backed out. They wanted to go, it was April, and that April was ungodly cold. It was cold, it was rainy, it was supposed to rain 3 of the 4 or 5 days that we were supposed to be there.
So
they didn't want to bring a GPS. They didn't want to bring a compass. We were going to Yawari National Forest in North Carolina, and we were going to get ourselves lost on purpose in a cold, rainy, wet season. what 400-pound man is going to subject himself to this?
I would have.
The one that agreed to do it.
You suffer together as friends. You suffer together as friends. You agree.
I have a thing with heights, but like I've never once stopped myself from going to like the top of a mountain. I've never stopped myself from going to the top of like an incredibly tall building, Skytree in Japan, anything. Like you kind of push through when you're with your friends or with your family. And you just want to go out and have fun. You kind of just have to like nut up and shut up. Like I don't particularly enjoy camping, and I have done it several times, and I have been like soaked to the skin. It has been like a really bad experience. But like I don't regret doing it because I had fun with my friends. Like this is the thing with Wings that he just doesn't seem to grasp, is that if you do things together with people, it's generally just considered more fun.
Again, Kyle left 2 days early.
Because
he left 2 days early, and I jumped out 2 days beforehand. And if I knew Kyle was going to get sick on the first day, I would have just fucking went.
Exactly.
You know, it's
they should have gone.
Like, a 400-pound man that can't hike it 10 miles into the national forest and live 5 days without food or water. And not be just miserable.
Well,
Jordy, those are things that I understand, but yes.
But like that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. That's not really why I got kicked off. I got kicked off because all the times that I would like sleep in or like miss the show or just be unreliable because.
So you're literally arguing his point now that it was entirely justifiable to kick you off.
I was depressed and slob of shit.
Jordy, it sucks that you were depressed, honestly, but. That's what I'm saying. If I'm like starting a podcast, I know it was small, but the thing with podcasts is it has potential, right? You invest in it and when it grows.
We were 176 episodes in.
Right, and it was still growing. And it still needs time to grow. Podcasts.
And I would make the comment that I was basically the star of the show because of comments I would say, stuff like that got me in trouble because like I got all the negatives of the podcast, none of the positives because like they replaced me.
Yeah, okay, but the thing is like they make a lot more than you do now. So the argument, like, I was the star of it. It's like, but if they got bigger once you left, and your career went downhill and theirs went uphill, then are you really the star of the podcast?
He would like Taylor, and they're making $20,000-$30,000 a month off like Patreon and ads a piece.
Yeah,
bet you wish you took that hike.
Taylor got negatives. He didn't get an army of trolls with him. Yeah, I wish I took that hike, dog.
Yeah,
like,
I bet you wish you took that hike.
Plus dollars in my savings account right now if I took that fucking hike. But it's like work through it. If you're really my fucking friend, you work through it.
Exactly. I could throw that back at you. If you're really their friend, then work through it. Why didn't you go on the camping trip, Jordy?
Exactly.
Work through it.
All right. Why didn't FBS Russia work thugh it? Because at the time
he got sick.
At the time,
committed. Yeah.
No. At the time,
but he went and he got sick. It's very different than just not going at all. Like if we'll go back to my height thing again. So if I go to the top of the very tall building and I fucking pass out because I'm like, holy shit, we're really high up, I think people would respect me more than me being like, nah, I ain't even gonna try. Because I tried. So I didn't quit. I passed out.
The time I got kicked off the show, I was the one that was on the show the most. Like statistically, I was there more than every other host.
So
well, to go back to your question,
matters.
Jordy, you asked him. Taking a look at the PK situation, do you think it was justified for me to be kicked off the podcast? And as someone who's suffered from similar situations, I have to say absolutely was justified because if you...
He has not suffered from similar situations. Boogie has often tries to compare himself to Wings in getting kicked off the podcast, even though he was on, like I said, 12 times, 6 times when he was more popular than him, 6 times when he was less popular than him. They did really well by Boogie, and they stopped inviting him back after, firstly, he started shit-talking them repeatedly online, and secondly, after that video with Boogie became their least liked video, because he was just terrible on the last appearance. He's done one since, so it's up to 13 times now, but the 12th video of Boogie's was awful. Like, the audience hated it. So much so they had to address it the next week. That's how much the audience hated Boogie being on, because it was at the point where everyone was turning against Boogie, because he was just being seen as like a terrible person. So yeah, did him's Boogie, but it's not the same. It's not the same comparison. He's like a host who set up the thing. You're a guest who like annoyed everyone.
You were showing up late. You weren't doing the job. You didn't go on the camping trip. You weren't showing the camaraderie. You weren't willing to do the work. You weren't willing to film the episodes. Yeah, I mean, it was justified in my opinion.
I missed like 3 episodes.
Okay, well,
okay.
I only have the context you're offering today, and the context you're offering today sounds...
I only missed like 3 episodes. It's quite a lot.
It's like they had every right to...
And I was begging them to monetize it. Like, if we monetized it, I would have put more effort into it. But at the time, it was just something I did that was basically free.
I don't quite believe that, Jordy. There's so many times where you're like...
You don't have to believe you won't.
No, that's fine. That's why it's my belief, right?
Yeah.
And that I can express
I'm sure Woody will straighten it out.
Right.
Hey, Woody can straighten all he wants. He knows we weren't making money on 176. Like, we get paid $1,000 an ad, and we'd split that 4 ways.
Okay, Jordy, there's things that we have to establish.
Okay, well, $1,000 an ad they had a decent number of ads. They didn't just have one ad. From my memory of PK, and he was claiming that they got paid $200 every 3 months. I'm guaranteed they didn't have one ad every 3 months.
We don't talk about it like over and over. You were making money on the podcast, right? We got that covered.
I was making very little.
You were making very little, but it was still a business that people were investing into. Okay, so you weren't making much. It didn't seem like something that people really want invested in. But the core of it is you yourself stated in this podcast that you were unreliable. Correct. I mean, like
for the last 2 or 3 months.
No, in the podcast, in the podcast, you were unreliable.
The last 2 or 3 months of the podcast, I was depressed. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we got that, and that is the core of it. You were unreliable. That's why it's justified, and that's it. That's the whole conversation.
Well, what about them paying the other guy and then not paying me at all?
Like, Jordy, the thing is with that, it's
no. Because like here, when I got kicked off the show, they paid Lefty $10,000 to relinquish his part of the show and walk. Why didn't I get that option?
Okay. Well, before we move on to that, can we agree that it was justified? The kicking off.
No,
we can't.
No, because if I'm in the same situation, let's say Boogie goes into one of like his depressed states,
right?
And Boogie wants to miss shows and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm not kicking Boogie off. I'm going to call him. I'm going to talk to him.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to be his fucking friend.
I'm with Tommy. I would. I would fuck him. I wouldn't. I would call him. It's like I guarantee if this started eating into Wings of Redemption's money, I guarantee if it was 3 months of that, where it was really eating into his money when he's talking earlier on about how this has really helped him financially, I guarantee him, like, no, it's totally fine. Let's go and cuddle. Book. I guarantee he wouldn't be like that.
I would expect if for 3 months I tune in a lackluster performance on the show and I miss 4 or 5 of them, and then Keem's like, "Hey, look, we have a work retreat. I need you to be here," and I don't show up to that, I would have every expectation.
No, that's not
me off.
Work retreat's not. It's not like we're going to have coffee and cake.
It's camaraderie.
Raw fish.
You know, it's still camaraderie, though. Is the point that I made. Like, they wanted to go through an experience together, and they wanted you to be part of that experience. And like, no, don't get me wrong. I would have told them I cannot do that. I will not.
I'm sorry. I just love immensely that Boogie is just sitting here trying to be reasonable. There's nothing. I'm just sitting here just enjoying this. That Boogie's just trying to pretend that he's a reasonable person.
But it just the pairing with that. Of the 2 or 3 months of depression. I mean, here's the real reality of it, and this is a hard lesson for anybody to learn, but like, your mental health is yours to deal with. It's not up to your family. It's not up to your friends.
Oh my God.
It's not up to the office you work at. It's not up to the internet.
I'm sorry. Like I say this all the time in my videos. This would sound so much better if it was coming from anyone but Boogie. We have Boogie sitting here telling people, you need to sort out your own mental health, and it's fucking Boogie. It's seriously Boogie, who 2 episodes ago when this was talking about ending himself.
It's not up to anybody. It's up to you and the therapist you hire.
I don't co-sign to this idea.
Well, at the end of the day, it does take a village. It is good to have your friends and family support, but you have to do the work. You have to do the work.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. The change has to come from you, but it's easier to carry a couch with 2 people.
I think we're going in circles. I think we're going in circles on this. We're on this way too long. But I do have one question. Jordy. This has been over 10 years. Does this still bother you? This just came up. I talked to you a couple months ago. And you played it off like you don't miss it at all over there. Sounds like now leaving that podcast hurts you to this day. Is that true?
No. I don't miss it.
It's so obvious when he's in arguing, and he's still arguing that it's not justifiable to kick him off, and he's still upset that Lefty got paid like 10 grand, and he is still upset about it. It's so obvious he's upset about this.
The podcast. I wish I made the money.
You wish you'd made the money, but you had to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, the easiest
which I
job
did.
ever.
I did show up. I showed up 173 out of 176 episodes. That's showing up.
Not for the last 3 months.
Well, we discussed this quite a bit. I think Jordy's not going to change his opinion.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I did something for free for 7 years. I think I showed up.
I didn't make the big money on Baited, and I just kept moving. I never, I quit. I mean, I don't know, Jordy.
I technically made more money on the podcast show than I ever did on PK. And the podcast show was like, we only did 100 episodes.
But that's fine. That's like who Jordy is, in my opinion, right? You can't change his opinion, even though like I think he knows he's wrong. That's the kind of person he is, and that's why he's entertaining.
I don't get why you think I'm wrong about this. The state,
I do.
I was the foundation. I was the foundation of that.
It's fine.
They would not be where they're at right now if I
remember. This is a guy who is not bothered by this whatsoever and doesn't care.
Didn't take the lumps I took in the early grounds of that podcast. They wouldn't have. It would have fizzled out like a fart.
I know, Jordy. That's your opinion, and that's why you're like. That's the core of you. That's why you're so entertaining, because you're so combative instead of trying to understand. And it's perfect. You're
not gonna get me to understand that because I missed 3 episodes while I'm fucking depressed as hell that I deserve to like lose almost $1 million worth of money on something I put 7 years of my life into. No. Like,
but was it worth $7 million for the first? Like, was it worth $1 million for the first 7 years? Like, it wasn't. It's worth it now that he's gone.
So the day I die, they're in the wrong on that. I'm still their friend, and that's why I don't go on.
But it doesn't bother you.
I don't lose sleep over it, and I know, like, what am I going to...
You seem bothered. It's why he doesn't go on. That's not even close to being true. Like, he wanted to go on after the boxing match. He specifically said that. He wanted to go on, but he wanted it to actually be an in-person meetup. He wanted the four of them to get together in person and do it.
Sit there and mope about it to the end of time?
I mean, I will say I got nothing in the world. Like, I have no reason to defend the PKA guys. They have roasted me like it's I'm a Thanksgiving duck. But
good.
At the end of the day, I will say I do think they probably should have.
The PK boys have been, like, more than generous with Boogie. Like, yeah, they've laughed at him for his stupid shit, but they've been more than generous with Boogie.
Bought you out. I think they definitely should have given you some money as you were let go or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, expecting Kyle, especially Kyle, to, like, be like, well, he's depressed. We really need to cut him a break.
He hates Kyle because Kyle specifically didn't really engage them on his, like, 12th appearance, the one where Boogie ended up not getting invited back for a couple of years because Kyle was just sick of him, because Boogie kept lying to Kyle over and over again, and Kyle kept knowing Boogie was lying because Boogie was trying to lie about things that Kyle actually knew. Like, there's this whole thing about him trying to talk about, like, different types of cars, and Kyle, like, had sold cars before or something, so he's like, I know he's lying. Like, what? Why are you lying to me about stuff I know about? Or, like, talking about gauges and guns and firing weapons and stuff like that. And Kyle's FPS Russia, it's literally his bit. And Boogie was just sitting there lying to him and making up stuff about guns, and Kyle was just like, yeah, because he just didn't want to call him out live on air.
Kyle don't seem like that kind of guy.
He's not that kind of guy.
Yeah, he's definitely not that kind of guy.
Kyle's a pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of guy.
Yeah. So
but
to have expected anything
also,
else from them seems ludicrous to me.
Kyle's also got a guy that came for money and doesn't know what not having money is.
Oh, Tommy, was there any more questions about the video specifically?
Yeah, actually, the one video, it kind of goes into what we're going for. It's the New York Times article. It's almost parallels your video. The New York Times article was, well, I'm going to go by PKA. PKA said it was more than fair, that it was sympathetic. And much like your video here today, Boogie, Wings seemed to think it was incendiary. It was a hit piece. Going so far to ban NYT in the chat. Not that I like the New York Times by any stretch, but like I don't understand, Wings. Like, everybody's reporting.
Let me tell you about the New York Times. The journalist I forgot her last name. She was Tiffany. I remember her first name was Tiffany. But the piece was about Uvalde, which is a stain on American history. Uvalde is.
I'm sorry, I sat there watching Boogie's expression the entire time because I still remember when Uvalde happened, Boogie was down at, like, Retropalooza, and it was like a 5-hour drive to, like, Uvalde from where he was, and he was pretending it was only down the road. It's only like an hour away from me. Do you think I should go and, like, film content? And he pretended that everyone was really up for it, except a few vocal people who weren't happy with it. But he deleted all the tweets, obviously, and hid it because he got, like, totally shredded because he had literally heard that it would be a fucking shooting, and he wanted to go and film content in Uvalde. And I still remember Boogie doing that and trying to blame everyone else. He said, one of my friends told me that she wanted me to do it. I was going to go down and donate, but now you people are saying I shouldn't. It was so embarrassing.
And, like, people were, like, bringing me up as, like, a crisis actor and all these, like, bad things. But Uvalde was the big one at that point. And I came on to talk about Uvalde, and then she brought all this pedophile shit up. And I'm like, dog, you can't take that out.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, you can't take you can't take that out, like, because we came here to talk about Uvalde and how I'm not a crisis actor.
But did it end up in the article?
Make it in the final cut. Did not make it in the final cut.
No, he didn't read the article. Just like you didn't watch the video.
I did read the article. It's in there. It's in there because I had
stuff is in there, June. I didn't read the article.
Let me pull out the article and let me control see this.
It's 100% in there because I wrote a letter addressing it because me and Kelly basically helped me ghostwrite it. Like, me and Kelly sat down and we drafted a letter as like a.
What are the odds you didn't read that article?
I read the motherfucking article.
After today, it makes me suspicious that you didn't read it because you didn't watch this video.
Quit being an idiot, dog. First off, how did I know what was in the article to bitch at her before the article?
Well, you didn't know what was in the video when you were complaining about things in the video that you didn't even know were in the video.
Came out if I didn't read the fucking article.
Because she asked you the questions and you assumed it was going to be in the article?
Oh my, no. They give you the article 2 days in advance.
Yeah, so I searched it. There's no P word. Let me link it in the Discord.
They don't use the term. They don't use the term.
What term do they use? I'll apologize if there's nothing in there about underage crap. I'll apologize to you right now. I want to hear this.
If you can, like, Jordy, if you can click on the article and just, like, Control F, search it in there, and then I just want to know where they accuse you of that. I want something specific. I just need something specific.
I'll look at it.
Yeah, I'm in.
Is it possible, in fairness to Jordy, is it possible that they took it out after he complained?
No, they did.
I don't think they would do that. This is recent, but
because they have editors, they have to do it. Like, once they submit the things, their editors.
No, not online. There's plenty of cases.
No, they can make changes or retractions. But it would say at the top usually that was when it was changed.
Where nowadays, especially the New York Times starts taking stuff out from old articles from years ago. don't trust these guys at all.
Oh, are we having a reading montage?
Oh, well, it's not even that long article.
Can we not skip?
By the way, I just want to tell the audience when
guys?
you're talking about crisis actor, there was a shooting at Uvalde, and initially Jordy was posted sort of like Sam Hyde is
right here.
one of the victims.
Here it is. Before that, he regularly appeared on a podcast where he's attracted some criticism for his statements, including some homophobic and racial slurs and comments supporting the lowering the age of consent.
That was the thing.
Yeah, but that doesn't
I wanted
make
to take that
it?
one line out.
That doesn't
You
make
asked me
you.
to-
That doesn't make you a pal anyway. That just make that,
No.
that's just like a.
I know it doesn't make me a
statement.
profile, but like, do you want that in a major publication?
But that's what you said. It's not a hit piece. That they're literally saying what you said. Like, they're not accusing you of anything. They're saying he drew negative attention because of, and then they said it. You know, they did say homophobic and racist, and arguments for lowering age of consent. Like, they didn't say homophobic, racist, and pedophilic. You know, they didn't say it like that. So yeah, he's still wrong here.
No, I
Those are
wouldn't want a major
just accusations.
publication,
I wouldn't
but it's not like
want
it's a. You can't call it a hit piece now. I'll tell you that right now because
Yeah.
that's not nothing in there was a lie.
Yeah.
A hit piece would be somewhat dishonest or deceptive.
Well,
That's not
well,
deceptive.
What the
It's not.
dishonest and
Not
deception
close.
was they added that after the fact. We didn't talk about any of that.
You said they asked
Like,
you.
'cause, like-
no, you literally just said Tiffany had asked you about it, and you're like, why are you asking me about that? What are you talking about?
They threw that in for spice.
I thought you just let me see if I understand here. I thought you just told me when she got you on the phone, that was this Tiffany
Yep.
that was so nice
It
to
was
you.
a
Then
it
she,
was a video call on Zoom.
and
Oh,
then she hit
that's
you
so
up on
different.
the Pico stuff. So what happened? Did she not talk to you about? Talk to you about?
No, no, no.
I
they're
didn't-
lying.
No, she gives you they give you the article 2 days before it airs, and they tell you what page
You literally said Tiffany had asked you about it. You literally, he said that.
is going to be on and when it's going to be up, and they let you read the article. And I seen it. I read the article and I seen that, and I'm like, dude, why is this in
Did she
here?
bring it
Like,
up
why-
during the interview? Because I'm pretty sure you
and
said
then-
in this
and then she-
podcast.
No, then she stonewalled me like it's public access. I can say what I want to say. Blah 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 blah. I mean, I still have the emails to this day saved about this, and like I went a little Kevin on her, and I will admit this,
What's
and I ended
Kevin
up
mean?
apologizing at the end because that's not who I want to be as a person, right? Because it is public knowledge. I just felt like
What's
felt
Kevin?
like they didn't have to include that in an article about like being a crisis actor, and I felt like it was just there.
But
to make
no, 100%. They include that because they're talking about reasons why people are doing it to you. Like, they're talking about reasons why people are trolling you online, in that it makes total sense to do this.
you look like a person.
June, is that fair?
No,
it really has
well,
nothing to do with the story. In fairness,
It
to
can be
Williams.
crude, but the thing is, you want to give some maybe motivation for the trolls and why they would want to target like Jordy. And Jordy did say those things, but as we understand it, like Jordy didn't really
Oh,
mean
that,
kind
okay.
of thing.
So
Right.
yeah, it's completely
you
appropriate.
wanna give
Yeah,
motivation.
it's totally appropriate.
Like that's completely
But-
appropriate. I mean, to put that
Right,
in
but
there.
like Tommy, like
It
if I'm
is.
asking you about like, say like, can you give me your mother's souffle casserole recipe? And then I write a review of it, and I say, well, Tommy C said the N word this time. You
But
know.
That's not relevant to it. They're talking about why people are posting up that you died in Uvalde and why they're trolling you like that, and they're making you out to be a crack. They're talking about that, so it makes sense. It's like, so why are these people picking on this guy? That makes sense. When you're talking about his souffle recipe, him being a racist doesn't apply to it unless he says, "I don't want any bananas in it" for obvious reasons.
It's giving
This- but
context to the why
Yeah.
you're treated the way you're treated. That's why. I mean, that's pretty much what you're. It's giving context to why you're. Because if you leave that out, you read the whole articles. Why does everybody hate this guy? There
Yeah.
you go. It's
But
those
if
statements.
what you're saying is like, and I think tell me if I'm wrong, Jordy. What you're saying is you don't want a major publication putting those types of implications. Like, obviously, for the rest of your life, people are going to Google your name, right? When you
yeah, because like
no longer a
the
thing.
reason
Right, you don't want
trolls
that coming
hit
up.
so hard on the pedophile shit is because like that's the worst thing you can be on the fucking planet. Like there's two things you don't want to be in jail: a pedophile and a fucking cop.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say
they
this.
literally-
I will say this, Jordy. If we were friends and I found out you were doing that, I would have begged you and kept you on the phone long as possible to keep you from doing that. So in that sense, I do agree with you. But as far as her ethics are concerned, I just don't see it in this particular case.
Yeah.
That's why. But
I think
this
it's
is also a
totally
lesson why
reasonable.
you never talk to the mainstream media.
Yeah, that's the reason. Because like Washington Post, like I had like 16 people wanted to pay me money to go and give them a similar story. I
Why
said,
didn't you?
"Oh, y'all, I'm not doing this." Because like I felt like
Remember at the start of this, like Wings came out and said like he sniffed his chair because there's like no bad publicity because at least people are talking about him. But now he's saying, "Oh, people were willing to pay me for me to go on and talk about the shit in mainstream media where we've got a lot of attention." But no, I'd rather take $10 to sniff my chair than get paid by reporters to talk about shit.
I felt like she stabbed me in the back with that. So I was like, "Oh,
I don't think she
do
did.
that.
I don't
She
think she
didn't.
did.
No.
I think she
I
did
don't
her
think so
job in
either.
this case. I think you didn't have the experience not to know not to talk to her.
yeah."
think that's what
Pro
happened.
tip: don't talk to cops. Don't talk to the.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I don't
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
talk to
yeah,
you.
yeah. If you can learn nothing else from listening to the Lolcow podcast, the cops are not your friends. The press is not your friends. Do not talk to these people.
Remember, Biggie has that feeling specifically because he got arrested for shooting a gun a couple hundred meters from school. I don't know, you know, in the air because an unarmed man showed up and called him the N-word. That is why Boogie says you should not trust the cops. Don't know about the journalists. I don't think he's ever had any bad run-ins with journalism. Maybe G4 TV because they like to mock him a lot.
Because she was as nice as humanly possible until she wasn't.
Of course she isn't. Of course.
No, I think she did was
you probably
not
didn't have a lot of
nice.
experience. I could have told you that for sure.
And every cop in the world is your best friend until they can find something to charge you with.
Oh my god, you're so butthurt. Remember this is him. I am a victim because an unarmed man came to my house. I left the safety of my house, approached him, pulled out a gun, pointed the gun at his face, at the face of this unarmed man, then shot a warning shot in the air. And I've lied about this 7 million times. Now he's angling the trajectory off it to aim towards woods that weren't even close to where he was fucking firing. But yeah, it's the cop's fault because he got in trouble for that. It was not Boogie's fault. Still somehow not Boogie's fault. It's those evil cops.
Yeah, that's their job. So we got the Evaldi thing. We got the arrested thing. I'm pretty much out of stuff, June. I'll be perfectly honest with you.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, the video I think it was a shorter one. I think my longest on Jordy was 2 hours. It was very lengthy. Very lengthy.
And I want to say this in closing. Like, I do deserve some flack because I was this is like 2017-ish. Again, not in the right headspace. And I know I say the same thing in PK when I fell out of that in 2014. But, like, it was a while I was depressed. Like seriously depressed. And I deserve some of it for being like a bag and like just being like emotionally immature. But
I'm gonna even say, even during June's recent video, which is like covering stuff from last year, there are shit that Wings does that is just like really embarrassing and definitely should be called out. Like his whole thing where he's like threatening trolls with prison over and over and over again, where he's like planning stuff behind the scenes. Where when he's talking to the New York Times, he gave Wings 007's full name to the reporter because I think he wanted the reporter to dox them. Like that stuff Wings did. Wings was calling for his fans and his moderators. He was trying to get Twitch to ban Real Talk because they were talking about it. And I've never watched Real Talk. I have no idea how transformative they were. But because they were restreaming him, he was trying to get them banned. And then he started copyright striking them. Like, you know, these are all things Wings did. Like, Wings made the trolling around him worse. Like, whilst a lot of it is about like how the trolls were running out of content, there is also parts of it that were just purely about how Wings really poorly handled the trolls. So the whole thing is not purely the trolls are bad and stupid and Wings is an ooey little flower victim like they've kind of made it sound like. There's a lot of criticism for Wings, especially how he handles the trolls. So, like, this isn't like, oh, well, in 2017 I was kind of dumb. It's like, well, no, last year you were dumb too.
I felt like I needed to be on medicine and I wasn't. And I didn't know how to control my emotions. And, like, I pretty much grew up on YouTube, so I didn't have a father figure. And I know this, woe is me.
What the fuck?
Like,
can I be your
I feel
father
like
figure?
that contributed.
No,
I feel like that contributed.
No, let Boogie be his father figure. It's just he's already got Dez too. He can be two people's dad.
To like some of the things I stated when trolling first started and like my attitude.
Jordy,
but I'm at the point where it's like
Jordy, nobody cares. Nobody cares about you. This is the shit that
that
gets you in
video
trouble.
Cares.
Well, yeah, they care. They want to sit there and sit you crying and whine so they can make fun of you and troll you.
People don't really like that. It's just
they don't. They hate.
They don't. People don't really care about your own pity me backstory. I grew up on YouTube and I didn't have it. No one really cares about that. It doesn't. Like, because you're like a grown-ass man. If you're like 18, I would cut people a lot of slack. It's like, no, I've had a hard childhood. I didn't have it out. I would cut you a lot more slack than it's like, okay, well, you're like 36, 37, whatever. I'm not cutting you slack, especially when Boogie does it. He's like 50. I'm certainly not cutting him fucking slack when he's like, well, when I was a child, I was like, okay, mate, you're 50.
Boogie knows this. At least he says he does.
Boogie does it too. Like,
yeah, I know he does. First of all, I like you a lot, Jordy. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
you're funny.
And out of effect, like Boogie had a hissy fit with you, Tommy, about not wanting to cross these. I'm willing to. I'm like, I didn't take anything off the table.
Yeah.
No. Look, I actually like you both. I really do. Right. And I don't think you're the worst guys in the world, but it's like if there's like a fork in the road and one says this is the wrong way and it's on fire and there's explosion and the other way is just like a clean road, you take the hellfire and brimstone every single time. The both of you.
I'll tell you why. Because the hellfire and brimstone has McDonald's.
Yeah, that's another thing. People don't realize. I'm gonna say some nice.
Oh, that fucking ack there. Jesus.
Things about you, Jordy. How funny you are. How friendly you are. I was watching our first podcast. There was we're all three of us are having a really good time. You guys like I don't care if the trolls hate you. I think you're all right, but I know why they hate you. I know why you get this flack.
Because
I mean, you
they're
didn't even
incels.
watch June's video. He's so. We
Right.
should. I want you to thank June for being on, Jordy.
I do. I thank you for coming on. Like, this
Right.
is what I thought the podcast was going to be. And like, I don't hold any hardship against it.
I know
I'm
you
out here. And like, you'll probably get back to you. Like, at some point, I called you Joon the King.
That was funny. That was funny. I like that.
And like, that's because my chat was calling you that. And
I
I didn't know that wasn't your name. I thought that was your actual YouTube name. That wasn't any hardship.
Boogie, you want to close on something?
You know, Jordy,
If this is lame, I'm just going to skip it. Okay, that's going to be me just skipping to the end because the rest of it was them just kind of talking about wanting Christian on and them tweeting at Christian, everything like that. So yeah, I'm not really interested. Was this one better than the last couple? There's issues with it because generally, like, Wings, you look at as being like the person you like the most. Generally, I think Tommy like actually came out of his shell and actually probably looked the best during this. He did a reasonable job at keeping it kind of on track. So I think Tommy actually came across the best. Boogie was just Boogie the entire time during this. Wings came across pretty badly, but I've always said Wings always has like a twitch. Anytime trolls come up, he always starts like having a bit of a spasm, and you know he's going to start like screaming the N-word or like trying to kill someone or something like that. Just go totally nuts. June was like a totally fine guest, but because June is so like placid and like neutral, and June was like pretty much made to like carry the conversation because Wings is like, well, I haven't seen it, so June was the one having to like approach subjects and stuff. So, but he still pushed back well at certain points. So I think June was a good host. Yeah, I probably liked it more than I liked the rest of them. It was interesting. I really wish it had just been Tommy as the moderator, June and Wings actually being made to have watched the thing and actually like talked about points and argued points, or done like a director's commentary, or that would have been really interesting. I think the way they did it is probably the worst way they possibly could have done it, with Wings just being like, I didn't watch it. June, ask me stuff if you want. I thought that was pretty weak. But that's gonna be the video, guys. Have a good one. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.